review what I'm seeing, what I'm predicting and anticipating. And luckily enough, well, I don't know if luckily is the right word, but I hope you guys have been enjoying these sessions because not to brag or anything, but the analysis has been pretty spot on so far. And I'm really, really happy to see that. And I'm hopeful that we continue to be right here with the data and analysis because that's good news for us as traders and investors. Thank you, David. Awesome, Richard. Yeah. So we hit the 200-day line yesterday. For those of you who are unfamiliar with what that is, that's the 200-day moving average price of the S&P 500. So basically, if you take the close of the last 200 days and average it out, it's an important line. It's funny. It's more of a mental line than anything else. It really doesn't actually mean anything. But when investors see a 200-day moving average, so say you bought the dip here and it hit the 200-day, you might be thinking, oh, let me take some profits because there might be some resistance. Or on the flip side, when stocks come down to the 200-day moving average, you might be thinking, let me flip short. So it can just be a pivotal kind of mental line here in the sand for traders and investors. I don't know why that Carvana, I was keeping an eye on that one. So we did have that yesterday. We closed above. You can see just barely closed above the 200-day moving average. Now, if you're looking at the QQQ, which is the Nasdaq, primarily tech stocks, it has not gotten there yet. It's close, but it hasn't gotten there. And the Russell 2000, which is small caps, is really, really down. But depending on how things go, that can also give way to a pretty big snapback. But we'll see. Markets did just go flat on the day after the consumer confidence report just came in at 10 a.m. Let's see if we go to a 1 minute chart. You can see kind of, so there you go. 10 a.m. report hits, stocks are down, but it's nothing crazy. I mean, this is a very normal swing right now. Would like for it not to go crazy down from here. But if we do have a little bit of a pullback day, in pullback, if we have a slight down day, I don't think that's a big deal. That's very, very typical when we get here at the 200-day moving average to see some chop before it picks its direction again. So today, tomorrow, the next day, even if it chops a bit, not a problem for me. I think that we're going to keep snapping higher, and I think the next stop is going to be this 50-day moving average. So right now it's about 590 right here. I think that's going to be the next stop once if we're able to bust through and hold this 200-day moving average. If you look at, I put the Newton lower study here, which measures momentum for us. First off, look at this. How good is that? It flipped negative momentum up here, which would have been a sell signal. Pretty impressive. So sell signal right here on the 24th, down, 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 down. Would have avoided all that pain. And then look at this. Look at how the momentum has been stacking back up. We're not quite to yellow yet, but we're getting really, really close. So that's good. What this is, this measures the change in momentum. So here is obviously at a very, very downward momentum reading, but then it's been taking higher and higher and higher where it's flipping back bullish. So that's really exciting for me to see on the Newton indicator as well as my own analysis that we'll go through today per the usual. Now I'm curious, did anyone here in the chat take the Carvana signal from Friday? Posted this in Telegram. This is my Telegram post of the week. If you guys bought the calls, you're probably up huge. I did the elite order here. Let me see what it's up right now. I did this elite order. I'm up 80% since Friday. Not too bad. I also bought a bunch of stock, which is up nicely as well. It was up. If we look at Carvana, just a little analysis here. So here you can see it went down when we had that big pullback, that correction, chopped around this 200-day moving average, and now it's shot up to the 50, kissed the 50-day moving average today, and it's been pulling back a little bit since. Still up on the day, but Carvana looks really, really good. Would like to see it hold its footing here, but again, if we get some chop, look, we saw some chop here. If we get some chop here, it's not a big deal. I think next stop is going to be right here, 268 range. And then if we continue in a bullish trend, I think it's going to all-time highs. So if you look at 215 where we're at now, I really do think that if the markets hold up here, this is going to 268. That's a 25% move on the stock. 25% move on a stock. So I've got a big chunk in the stock right now. Looking to see if we can bust through this 50-day moving average. You can see here was support at the 50-day moving average. I think we're going to get some resistance here at the 50-day moving average, and then hopefully bust through right back to here where this gap happened after earnings. So it's a really, really good one to keep your eyes on. Dave, up 12% on the stock. Yeah, I bought a bunch of stock. David, I'm up about the same as well. So that's been a really, really great one for us. If you're not in Telegram, you missed out. I'll post a link here in the chat to join Telegram. Here comes the link. If you guys aren't in Telegram, I post free trades, free ideas, free content, data analysis throughout the week. It's not on any sort of set schedule. It's just kind of when I see something and I want to share it with everyone, I'll just post it there in Telegram. It's free to join. Definitely highly recommend getting in. If you guys are not in Telegram, the link is there in the chat. Now, for the morning market update, let's go ahead and see where we're at right now. And there's not too much of a change from this screenshot here. Again, we saw the consumer confidence report come in. Markets took a slight dip, but they're back to right where this screenshot is, with the exception of gold. Gold is moving higher, up about 1% today. Gold hit the $3,000 mark. I told you guys back when it was 1800, 1700, 1800 level that I was buying gold. I've been accumulating ever since. I think my most recent purchase was at 2600, and now we're at 3000 on gold. People say that we're peaked out. In short term, maybe we will. Maybe we will pull back a little bit, but I don't think that we're done yet. I think we're going to have another 20% plus year in 2025 on gold. I can't tell you the exact what we're up right now. Does anyone know what we're up on gold this year to date? Let me just Google it. Year to date on gold is up 14%. Wow. But I think we're going to have another 20, 25, maybe even 30% year this year, which would be about, what is that, 10% from here? So if you're looking at GLD ETF, 10% from 280 would be up $28, so 308 by end of year. So I can't even show you end of year, but I think we're going to get up in this range here before we see some sort of pullback. If you want to know why I believe that, you'll have to go look at former opening playbook sessions, the analysis there. Really compelling stuff. But besides that, the markets are mostly flat today. We had consumer confidence coming this morning, slightly under anticipated. New home sales, slightly under anticipated. Markets didn't really move a ton on the news, which is good. Thursday, though, if we fast forward here to Thursday morning, and we'll cover this on Thursday's session. Remember, I do these Tuesdays and Thursdays. So on Thursday's session, I'll cover and talk about how GDP went. But we have GDP, which is basically the earnings report for the United States of America, if you will. How much did we produce in the quarter? Two negative GDPs in a row does mean a recession. Granted, we're not there yet, but this is something that people's eyes are turning to as recessionary conversations are being brought up in the headlines. So Thursday's GDP report will be a really big one that also is paired there with the jobless claims. We'll cover that on Thursday at the 10 a.m. session. And then Friday, PCE, which is another pretty big report, but GDP is the big one this week. What's crazy is, like, if we get a strong reading, I think that the markets will like it. Whereas before, if we got a strong reading, they didn't like it because they wanted rate cuts. So now I think we want to see strong readings from here on out, and lower than expected jobless claims. I think that what am I trying to say here? I don't think people want to see us rush to rate cuts because I think there's fears of hyperinflation. They want to see a strong economy to see this thing play out and just keep chugging along at this point. Whereas 6 months ago, 12 months ago, that was a totally different story. So we want to see a strong number here on Thursday. Again, I'll cover that on Thursday. The crazy thing is, half the time it does the opposite of what I think. So GDP comes in strong and the markets tank. And I'm like, why are they tanking? I don't know. Sometimes things flip and go backwards. But either way, it's an important number. We'll cover it Thursday. Now I'm just rambling. Next week, not a ton of big reports. We do have jobless claims again every Thursday, but also unemployment rate on Friday. That'll be the bigger reports for the next week coming up. But nothing crazy here. No interest rate decisions or anything like that. For the charts of the week, I covered this in the roundtable last week, and I just want to review it for you guys to see if this is your first time here. Just curious, is this anyone's first time here? Just say yes in the chat if it's your first time here. I'm just curious if we're getting the same crowd showing up, which I want to see. I want to see everyone showing up week after week, and we're building off what we talk about each week. But if you're new, I want to go ahead and give you a quick rewind of where we're at. Okay, quite a few new people. Okay, wow, a lot of new people. All right, so this is what we've been talking about. Everyone has been super bearish. Everyone's been saying recession, crash, that we saw extreme fear on the fear and greed index for a while. And I told you guys on the 13th, I'll show you the telegram here in a second. March 13th, I said, buy it. I think this is the bottom. And so far, that has been the bottom, the exact day. Now, I don't always get it on the exact day, but I'm gonna walk you through why I made that big prediction that the bottom was in when everybody else, including everybody on the round table as well, said I think we're going lower from here. I said no, I think this is the bottom. And I'll tell you what, the crazy part is that in my gut, in my my emotions, I did not feel like it was the bottom. I said, I don't know. This is pretty scary. We might be going lower. I had fear in my emotions. But when I looked at the data, when I looked at the numbers, I let that do the talking for me. So while my emotions were scared, I looked at the data and said, let's trust the numbers. Numbers don't lie. Let's see what the odds are saying and let's go with that. So we had this happen. We're 3 weeks in a row. The American Association of Individual Investors was bearish for 3 weeks in a row. That's only happened a few times before in history. One was the bottom of the 2008 crash. Another one was back here in this dip. What's crazy to me is we just had that here. Oh, the bottom of the bear market of 2022 as well. We just had that reading this last week. What's crazy to me is like this is a real crash, right? 2008 was bad. The dot-com bubble was bad. Even COVID was pretty bad. The bear market of 2022 was pretty rough. Guys, look at this drop here. That's the drop we saw. Yet fear was at all-time highs. That doesn't really add up to me. And then if I keep going on that, oops, let me adjust my screen share here. Keep building off this. This is what FundStrat's Tom Lee said. He called the crash, which if you've been paying attention, I was a week early to say that the markets were going to crash. So I sold off about a week early. Markets went to all-time highs, and I said, "Ah, crap!" But then they crashed, so it worked out. Tom Lee, who was right in line with my analysis, said that this was the fifth fastest correction in history. We had a 20-day to a 10% correction in our markets just this year. That's the fifth fastest in history. Every single time we've had one that fast, a correction that happened this quick. Remember, it's 3 weeks of straight down, 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 down. Well, every single time that's happened in the past, the markets have finished positive over the next 3 months, 100% of the time. Over the next 6 months, very, very positive, and 12 months, extremely positive. So just more data saying that the bottom may be in when we have these rapid flash crashes like we just saw. He said the bottom is likely in unless we're going to get a recession. I said the same thing. March 13th is the day I told you that I believe the bottom was in, and so far that's held. Also seasonally, very typical for February going into March to see a crash. This is the last 20 years of S&P data. The average S&P movement, if you guys can see this here, what's that look like? Does that look like up to you going into March? No, it's straight down. So it's very, very normal to see this correction in March. And I'll show you the presidential chart here in a second, which says the same thing as well. Back half of March going through May, though, very, very bullish. So again, when my emotions were saying fear, sell, lighten position size, the number said add to it, buy. This may be the bottom. This is time to level up. And so we did that. And so far it's been paying off. My account is almost at all-time highs. It's not at all-time highs, but it's almost at all-time highs. Meanwhile, the S&P is still, let me just check, is still down 6% from all-time highs. So I think my account's about 1 or 2% away from all-time highs. S&P is still down 6%. NASDAQ's down way more. So by paying attention to the data, trusting the data, and position sizing accordingly, it's been working out really good. All right, so that's just a quick recap of where we've been, why I said the bottom was in about 10 days ago, 12 days ago. Even though everything, my emotions were saying differently, a lot of other analysts who I really trust and like to listen to said we're going lower, but I saw the data and I said, I think this may be the bottom. So that's the old charts. Let's look at some new fun ones. A lot of people are saying this is the beginning of the dot-com bubble. They're saying this is 2000 all over again. Well, if we're looking at this from the bottom of 1995, going through the melt up of the year 2000 before the dot-com bubble hit, that's this black line, 5 years of insane market returns. If we say the same thing from the bottom of the bear market of 2022 to where we are now, that puts us right about here. Which means if it were to be just like the dot-com bubble, like everyone's saying, we still have a boom ahead of us. So this is a very bullish chart here to say, hey, if you are that person who says this is just like this AI bubble, it's just like the dot-com internet bubble, if that's you, well, then you would have to agree that we're right about here before a final melt up. Now, I don't think history repeats itself to a T, but I do think that history does rhyme. Patterns repeat. They trend similarly. So again, this is a very bullish chart for us that there may still be some more room to go, even though it seems extreme. Look, the markets in 1995 doubled. You can't see it really here, but if we could put a marker here, say 100% return, that would be insane. Over about a year and a half, 100% return. That's kind of similar to what we've seen. A lot of stocks. I mean, think about Nvidia, Microsoft when they had their partnership with OpenAI, all the chip stocks. A lot of the tech stocks we love all doubled. People say that's crazy, it's overbought. And look, if you look at the .com era, there was a mild correction, right? People probably did freak out, but then the final melt up came. We still have a lot of liquidity on the table, in my opinion. I do think we're going to get a final melt up here. I don't know that it's going to be this extreme. I mean, this is mega extreme. The thing went up 700% before peaking, and that was over just a couple of 2 years here. That's insane. I don't think we're going to get that, but I do think we're going to see all-time highs before we see a real recession or crash. So, um, now let me give you something a little more neutral. So I just gave you a little bit of a bullish outlook on what may come over the next year. Here's your more neutral data. Third-year returns in a bull market can be weak. So we had the 2022 bear market. Then we had the 2023 begin of the bull market. So that would be this average return here, 30%, which is pretty much in line with what we saw. Year two, a little softening. And then year three, which is where we're at right now, 2025, tends to be a slower year. So this chop right now that we're seeing is not unusual. The fact that the markets are down year to date is not unusual. We may see some chop this year. We may see, I think we're going to see all-time highs. I think we're going to see another deeper pullback in the fall. So again, if we finish the year flat, don't be shocked. It doesn't mean the bull market is done because year 4, 5, and 6 tend to be pretty good as well. All this goes to say, in my opinion, is be smart, be nimble, be aware of what's going on. It's not one of those years, in my opinion, where you can just throw your money in the market and know it's going to go crazy like in 2023, even 2024. We're going to have to be a little bit more nimble this year, but there's still going to be opportunity. So that's your here's your bullish argument, here's your kind of middle of the pack, and then here's your bearish argument. I try to give you guys all sides of data here, so you can make your decisions on your own with the data that I give you. Here's an example of 2000s.com bubble. I've been seeing this a lot lately. People are calling this little pop that we've had a bear market rally or a dead cat bounce or whatever, you name it. The thing is, you could point to any pullback in the markets. I mean, let's look at the spot. You could call this a dead cat bounce. Oh, what do you know? We end up making all-time highs. Pull back here. Oh, it's just a dead cat bounce. Well, all-time highs. Again, they're calling this a dead cat bounce, which just means that the markets are going down and we're just getting a small rally. So you could believe this. You could think we're getting just a small bounce here before heading lower, bounce lower, bounce lower. This may happen at some point. I don't think we're there yet. This is painful, but again, even if it is bearish, the point or the important thing is that you're able to take advantage of these opportunities and be nimble. So even if this happens, hopefully these sessions are helpful and we're able to avoid a lot of the pain and still get some upside opportunity as well. Now I'm curious here in the chat because last week I asked, so I'm going to ask again. Are you guys bullish or bearish right now? Do you think we're going to go higher or lower from here? Just post high or low in the chat. I want to get an idea of where you guys are at right now. Last week, it was probably 80% said lower. So far, I've only gotten one lower. And I'm not saying anyone's right or wrong. This isn't to say you don't know or anything. Nobody knows, frankly. We're all taking the analysis we have and putting our best odds together. We've got some flat. That's some good call. Higher, higher, higher. Bearish this week than higher. So it's interesting how a week can change everything. 1 week ago, when I asked here in the chat, again, 80% of the crowd said lower. Eastroad says, I think we have one more lower than we take off. That could very well happen, Eastroad. But it's interesting to see here in the chat just this morning how 1 week the sentiment has changed so much. So let's go ahead and take a look at the market overview. Here was last week's analysis. Again, I called the crash right about here, I think, is when I said to sell because we're going to crash. And then we went to all-time highs. I felt like a dummy. Started second-guessing myself. But here's our crash that we predicted. And I shouldn't say crash. Correction. Let me use the right word. Correction that was predicted. Then I said we're going to bottom out here and go higher. So what came next? Bottomed out. We've gone higher so far. And again, right now we're at the 200-day moving line, which is a big mental kind of sticking point of resistance here for us. Right now, we may chop around from here and then go higher, in my opinion. Again, the big news here, Posted in Telegram, closed above the 200-day moving average yesterday. That's a big, big thing. So far today, we're still, even though the markets are kind of pitter-pattering around, we're still holding above the 200-day moving average on the S&P 500. Very, very good. If we can close above it, even better. Taking a look at the greed and fear index, which is a cool little reading that CNN puts together that takes multiple market internals and gives you a rating of people. Are they fearful? Are they greedy? Right now, we're still in fear mode, still pretty close to extreme fear. We're in extreme fear for multiple weeks in a row. I told you guys when I see extreme fear, yes, my gut, my emotions do feel the same way. I do get scared. I do want to sell, but typically when I see extreme fear, I need to rewire my brain to tell me, hey, I should be looking for buying opportunities right now. Because almost every time we get into extreme fear, markets do go higher from there. The put to call ratio, I covered this every week. I told you last week that it got to extreme ratings. I got some questions for a Telegram link. Here's the Telegram link again, posted in the chat. So, put to call ratio, when it's above one, quick question for anyone in the chat. What does above one normally mean for us? See if we've been paying attention. I need to give some A+ grades out today. I'm just kidding. Nate, you got it. So when we get these readings here, which is just a ratio of how many calls are being bought and how many puts are being bought, typically markets go up. So it's expected that more calls would be bought than puts. So we like to see it in this 0.8 range. But when we get these readings above one, which means more puts are bought, or well, above one is more puts are bought than calls, that typically means a bottom's pretty much in. We saw this at the beginning of the year. We saw this. This was the election spike. But if we go back to August, similar thing. Bottom is in typically when we get this reading above one. So last week, this is on the 13th, I think. That's when I said we're above one. We're finally there. I think the bottom is in. Put to call ratio is above one. And sure enough, this has gone down, which is a bullish reading. When this goes down, stocks are going up. When it goes up, stocks are probably going down. So this is a bullish reading. Worked out perfectly for us. So I hope you paid attention. Also, this is some data I covered last week. More data of why I was bullish. Since the start of the secular bull market in 2009, whenever that put to call ratio was above 0.93, so pretty close to 1, but above 0.93, while the S&P was in a 10% correction, stocks went higher over the next 6 months, 80% of the time, 100% of the time, 12 months, 100% of the time, 3 months, even 80% of the time. So look at this. When we get that reading with that high put to call ratio, and at the same time, stocks are down 10% or more, it's like an insane buy signal. A very rare reading. Here you can see it's only happened a few times over the last 10 years. Actually, it's over the last 15 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in the last 15 years. Every time it's worked out. So that's a very important reading that we had there. And it worked out perfectly. So again, while my emotion said I'm scared, the data said, hey, ignore your emotions. Don't think, use your brain here, use the data, and let's make decisions based off that, not what your feelings are, because that'll get you wrecked as a trader. If we're looking at stocks that are trading above their 50-day moving average, again, the S&P, let me pull this up so you get an idea. 500 companies in here. Here's the 50-day moving average. So the S&P isn't even close. We would not expect most stocks to be trading above their 50-day moving average, right? That wouldn't really make sense. However, we are getting this nice bounce that I called for last week. We're at about 35% of stocks trading above their 50-day moving average, which you can kind of mentally relate with. 35% of stocks are pretty close to all-time highs or at all-time highs. They're trending higher. So about a third of the market. We were at 20% last week, which I had a more zoomed out chart last week where I showed you every time we get below 25%, you pretty much can buy the dip and it's going to go higher. And I take that with a grain of salt. That doesn't mean every time without a doubt, without fail, but most of the time, about 90% of the time, when we get these crazy readings down here, it's a good time to be buying. Same thing for stocks trading above their 200-day moving average. So the S&P just closed above it, and I'm guessing today, if I took the screenshot, we'd be closer to 45% of stocks, but getting close to about half of stocks trading above their 200-day moving average. So I called the bounce last week, and we got it. Seasonally speaking, I'm going to fly through these. March, April, May are typically bullish months for us. Also, if we look at this is 21 years of data. This is March seasonality. So this is just a month of March, beginning of March to the end of March. This is a very typical correction to the middle of March. This happens on average almost every single year in March. Markets sell off. and then bottom middle of March and go higher through the end of the month. It's insane that it's happening again almost to a T. We had our bottom here on the 13th, but again, we've gone higher since. Now that doesn't mean we're going to go up every day. Look, there's still a down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. But the bottom, according to the data, according to the seasonals, is in. And if we're looking at the presidential seasonal pattern, um, let me cover this real quick. Then Gregory, I'll address your question there. If we look at the presidential seasonal pattern, which this is just saying what does the market usually look like in the first year of a new president? The green line is all post-election years. The red line here is a new president. Again, very, very typical to see some volatility at the start of the year. And then what happens about the middle of March? Markets tend to bottom and go higher through May. So we have a lot of data that lined up. I mean, what did I show you? 5, 6 data points that all lined up saying the bottom was in. So that's why I was so bullish. Um, Hopefully this data makes sense and why I like to look at the data versus what I'm feeling. My outlook for what's coming ahead is the same thing I've been saying for weeks. I think we're going to get a move higher here. Again, we may chop around the 200-day moving average, but a move higher to about that 50-day moving average, then some chop, and then hopefully we break higher from there. So this is my outlook going forward. It hasn't changed. It's still the same. We just got a few more candlesticks on here now. So hopefully this has been helpful. Here's my Telegram. Of course, I posted in on March 13th, which happened to be the day of the low. Um, New lows, S&P back into quote unquote correction territory, but I'm accumulating right now. So I gave you guys my favorite stocks I'm buying, all on Telegram for free. Ended up working great. Of course, I gave you my outlook as well in Telegram too. So I just keep you guys as updated as I possibly can in Telegram. So make sure if you're not in there, click that link in the chat to join. Now, Gregory had a great question here. And I just want to address this real quick before moving on. He says, Graham, I have another Telegram channel with your exact photo claiming to be you. 20K followers and all about Bitcoin. I'm assuming that's an imposter. Yes, Gregory, that is definitely an imposter. First off, I wish I had 20,000 followers. I don't. I have about 3,000 in mine. With that said, there are known to be, in this digital age of the internet, Roger has had this issue. Lance has had this issue where people will make imposter telegrams. They'll ask you to send them money. They'll say they'll manage your money, or they'll ask you to send them Bitcoin. Never, never, never do that. Everyone here in the chat, just promise me you will never send someone money. You'll never send someone Bitcoin claiming to be me. I would never ask for your personal money to manage or anything like that. I'm not going to ask you to wire me cash. I'm not going to ask you to send me crypto. If you guys ever see that, your red flag alarm goes up and say, that's probably not Graham. Actually say it's definitely not Graham, because I would never ask you to do that. So everyone here, Gregory, I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't even know about that Telegram channel, but I've seen people made a fake Instagram for me, DMing people and saying to send them money, claiming it was me. It was not me. I would never do that. So again, keep your guard up in this internet age. I mean, we've all seen the emails about African princes trying to email us their fortunes. That was about 10 years ago. That was popular. Now it's happening in Telegram. It's happening on Instagram, Facebook. So just keep your guard up, guys. Don't fall for those scams. Gregory, if you can report that imposter, that would be great. So I think in Telegram you can report them. And I would greatly appreciate that. I really don't want to see anyone get taken advantage of. And unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about it other than ask you guys to report them when you see it. Steven, overnight spy paid again. I'm guessing that was with Nate. That's awesome. I love it, Steven. Nate will be on here in a minute. I'm probably dragging on. He's probably wondering when I'm going to get done here so he can jump in and give his picks. We do have some earnings next week. Nothing crazy big. We do have Lululemon on, not next week. This is this week. We have Lululemon on Thursday after the close. That's a stock that I really like. It's been totally thrown off by the tariffs with Canada, obviously. Oklo had earnings yesterday. I didn't even notice that. Oklo is one of my nuclear stock picks. We bought it at $8. It's at $28. It's down 8% after earnings. Maybe not a bad day to buy. Oklo is that one right there. But Lululemon on Thursday. So we do have quite a few earnings names, but nothing crazy big. Some retail coming back in. As far as the sector view, again, seasonality is positive. This is the only time in market of the year where we get all sectors positive for the next 3 months. This is just showing that the average return of each sector is very, very good. As far as the sector analysis, here's the picks I had for you last week. I said we like utilities, communications, and energy. If you guys have been following along, you know that I've pretty much been in this bucket all year. Maybe not all year, but for a while now. We've been just riding these ones higher. It's worked out great. I dumped financials when they were down so big off the correction and added energy because if we look here, energy is in a very, very bullish period coming up seasonally, and it was heating up on the sector view. And as a matter of fact, when I go ahead and put in this week's chart, energy is now the top sector outside of Bitcoin, which isn't really a sector. I just put it in there so you guys can see. But energy is now heating up even some more. Communications moved higher. We really just shuffled spots here between communications, finances, and utilities. I wouldn't really say they're moving down or anything crazy negative. They're just kind of reshuffling here at the top. But energy is our top sector. Staples moving lower, materials moving lower. Um, and for this week, my top sector, I'm just going to pick those same ones again and then add back in financials. I think it's a good time to be adding financials. Let's see, what are financials doing today? Oh man, that is a beautiful trend on XLF. If you guys punch that one in, JP Morgan looks like a great buy right now.
Anyone in here hit the automated option XLF winner? Closed. Some people closed yesterday, but for sure hit the target today.
Oh,
XLF, baby.
there you go. Hey Nate, XLF looks absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I've been super bullish on financials. I think they're one of the best mixes. I would say health and financials are the best mix of like upside, but still some durability in the chaos. Those two sectors. So
That is
like
awesome.
both, and XLF hit a really nice winner. So I'll take it.
Well, there you go. So I'm adding XLF back in for my top picks or my top sectors to focus on right now. Now for the nitty gritty, who wants to do some live trading? Uh, we had about 2 weeks where I said we're not going to do live trading anymore. I got bored. I got tired. It's hard for me to track it if I give you guys a pick and I don't actually have it in my account. It's hard to remember. Hard for me to remember what I gave you. So I want to take some real money trades here with you guys as well. And I'm going to give you guys basic calls. I know I've had a request for that, and as well as the spreads. I like to take the spreads. I think the risk to reward ratio is unmatched with spreads, but I'm going to give you guys calls too, so you can take it as well. So let's jump into some free picks, some free trades for this week. Top Apex signal is AJG. Um, we've been trading the insurance stocks a lot. Progressive has been the top pick for the last few weeks in a row. This week I'm rolling over to AJG, which is another really great one. Actually, Progressive looks great too if you want to take Progressive again. But AJG is heating up. I mean, just if I just pull up a daily chart, let me show you. It's just actually flipped green on Newton today as well. So here's AJG. Look at that beautiful trend. It is a financial sector. Uh, Look, Newton, if I just looking at the lower study here, it's flipped green today, which means momentum is now above average for the stock. Last time that happened was here. What do you think happened next? Big move up. So I like AJG right now. And then, oops, let me pull up the Apex indicator here on the weekly chart. It's breaking out with a profit target of 351.69. Let me type this up for you guys. So AJG profit target of 351.69. Stop loss price is at, what is that? 278.70. I had a typo here. And then this could be a multi-week hold. This is not a like day trade or anything like that. Let's go pick some options for this guy. I'm going to go ahead and go out to May for the call options. They're going to be a little bit pricier. That's why I like trading the spreads as well. They're much cheaper. But if I go out to May, I would probably do the 350 strike because that's right around our profit target, and we've got 2 months of buffer. So let me type this in here. 16 May, 25 expiration, 350 call option. This is currently trading at about $7. So here it comes in the chat. If you guys want to take the call, that's the call. Currently trading about $7. A little pricey for me. But if I want to take the spread, let me see what we got here. It's not bad. I've been going to do the April. Let me just check for earnings. I think I checked that yesterday to make sure we did not have any earnings. Earnings are not till May, so we should be good. I'm gonna do the 17th of April expiration. I'm gonna buy the 330 call, sell the 17 April 340 call. Now, this is not going to be a one-to-one risk to reward because AJG is above that, but right now it's trading at 650. 650 net debit currently. There's AJG. That's my wrap order that I'm going to take here. Again, 650 net debit. So the total max profit here is we can sell for $10. So about a 53% return if AJG gains $1.50 from here, which is about a half a percent from here. So I'm going to punch this in, send it off. Of course, Thinkorswim does that math for you, which is great. Filled right away. I probably could have got in cheaper. That's what that normally tells me. I'll just set a second one at $6, see if we get filled. And I'll let that sit. All right. Ken likes the free trades. I like them. For the hot sheet picks of the week, this is my seasonal. So I showed you guys a lot of seasonals with the overall S&P. I showed you seasonals with the sectors. Showed you seasonals with the month to month. There's also a way to evaluate stocks, individual stocks based on seasonality. So here's the hot sheet. I post them in the chat. It's free. We ship them right to your house. We'll send you some sheets that you can have on your desk with different entry and exit dates based on seasonal patterns. If you take that free offering on the next page, you can also upgrade to trade with me in the on the clock stocks program, where I'll send you the entry alerts, exit alerts, options criteria, everything you need to know. Posted that here in the chat. But for a little freebie pick this week, ISRG, which is a great stock. It's a bit pricier, so these options are going to be expensive. But if we look at this, let me pull it up here on the daily. Oops. So you can see here, big correction like the rest of the market. It held well at the 200-day moving average. It's above the 200-day moving average. And the other thing I like here is, again, if we're looking at the Newton momentum, it's bottomed out on the 13th, and it's been taken higher and higher and higher and higher. This is very, very, the momentum is changing very fast. It's up 1.5% today. And seasonally speaking, from March 25th, plus if you hold it for 18 days, so what is that, about March 25th or about April 12th, it's gone up 100% of the time over the last 10 years. So this one seasonally goes up over the next about 3 weeks from here for about a 4% gain on the underlying stock. Again, if you want more picks like that, click that link in the chat. But let's go ahead and trade ISRG. I'll type it up for you guys here. ISRG is a seasonal pick. 18-day hold time, 4.2% average return on the stock. I'm going to give you guys a call option, but again, you know me, you know I take the wrap orders. So let's go ahead and go out to May as well. We're going to look at the call options. 4% move on this stock would be, what is that, a $20 move? That put us at 536. So I'd like to be just under that. 530 here. Very expensive. It's $2,000 a contract. I'll type it up for you guys if you want it, but I'm not going to take that. It's a little, it's expensive, and the risk reward isn't as good as the wrap order. Don't have time to get into all that today. But if you want to take the ISRG call option, here you go. You would hold it for about 3 weeks. Mike, if both strikes of a vertical bull call spread are in the money, will the short side be assigned? Mike, if they're both in the money, it will be assigned, and then yours will exercise, and they'll just offset. So if you have one of each, they will offset. The one you sold will offset with the one you bought, if that makes sense, Mike. All right, for me, I'm going to get to 17th of April. It's a monthly expiration. Let's see what this puppy's priced at. Let me check for earnings real quick. Forgot to do that. Okay, cool. Not before the 17th. ISRG, the wrap order here is the 17th of April, 25th or 2025 expiration. I'm going to buy the 515 call. I'm going to sell the 17th of April 520 call. Right now, this is trading at 245, 250. So it's a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. If ISRG gains $3.50 from here, so about 0.8% over the next month, roughly speaking, you should double your money. So let me post this here in the chat. Oops, I had a typo. Tim, that's exactly right. In theory. Now, for meta right now, I really like it. But that would be part of my analysis. All right, the price is moving. I'm just going to set a limit order here at 250. That's a fair price in my opinion. Again, don't have time to get into it today, but I'm gonna get four of them. $1,000 risk to make $1,000 if the stock gains less than 1% over the next month. So to give you an idea, the stock just has to be above where my crosshairs are here by 417. So it barely even has to move. It's not like call options where you need it to go up here. We barely need it to move. That's why I like the spreads. Again, I don't have time to get into that in today's class. So I gave you guys two free picks there. Now I want to turn it over to Nate, who's on a limited time schedule. But Nate prepared some stocks for us that he wants to show us. Maybe some data. I'm not sure exactly what Nate got for us, but Nate has been a man on the money. We had people here in the chat say they made money on his overnight SPY trade. They made money on the XLF trade. So Nate, why don't you give us something good here?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me on, Graham, as usual, and hello to all the wonderful people. Um, yeah, shout out to the XLF trade. That was one of our quickest closes ever on automated options. Planning on holding that trade for 2 weeks. Only took a day and a half, so can't complain about that. And then our overnight option just hit the target, so another winner there as well. It's been a lot of fun. And then, of course, the weekend trade hit, which I'll mention here in a second. So always nice to get on a roll. But let me just kind of quickly flip through some things that I'm watching, and a whole bunch of it is going to sound really familiar because Graham just covered some of this, but I'll go through it real quick. So here's the SPY. If you guys didn't know, it's looking like a bounce all of a sudden, actually
Yeah,
looking
looking really strong.
pretty promising. I mean, we've seen, see, the thing is, and I kept trying to remind my people on this. Yes, the market looked really ugly for 4 weeks, but those 4 or 5 week flushes have not been uncommon for us in the last 2 years. Not at all, actually, since the bottom of 2022. I mean, you see one right here, and one
I
right
don't see your
here.
screen. Wait.
You don't see my
Oh,
screen?
I had to click it. That's weird. Normally pops up. All right, I see it now.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you should see it. Does everyone else see it? Should see my screen here where we had this pop up, this flush, this flush, this flush, a little bit longer flush here, but none of those were recession like starters. And so I think we're way ahead of ourselves to think that we're getting there right now. I think we needed like a break all the way below probably 520 before we really get into a crazy deep correction on the SPY. And right now, I'm fairly bullish that we're not going to get there. So don't forget, like Graham said, these deep corrections have been very typical for us lately. Flushes, not long-term corrections. We just had a long-term correction in 2022. Usually, we don't get to longer-term, 10-month corrections within 3 or 4 years. We also have the bottom here that Graham mentioned that matches up seasonally, and then we have this, bearish high percentage, like Graham mentioned as well. So for me, I really want two things to happen before I'm all in. I'm already pretty bullish here, like I've been saying now for a couple weeks actually, and I told people to trade it up to this 580 level, which we're now just a couple dollars away from. So I think that's like kind of the first point. I do think we might have to be patient around 580. We've seen the market hit some of these kind of test points and slow down and take a few weeks to figure out whether we're really ramping up. So if we hit 580 and we kind of throw a rejection candle in there and then puddle around for a little bit, don't freak out. Don't assume we're definitely going down to new lows. I think there's a good chance we'll get some pause activity. But I had said I'm trading up toward this 580 level as the first point, and if we break there, I'm trading to all-time highs with a lot of confidence. But there are two things that I want to see before we go all in. The first one is seeing insider buying increasing. Like Graham shared, retail bearishness is high. That's usually a great sign. If you combine that with insider buying, it's basically an undefeated sign. When retail is bearish and insiders are buying, you can almost guarantee that we're going to get a continuation in the market or a turnaround in the market like we saw in 2008, 2012, 2016, 2020. And what we're probably starting to see here, this has started to tick up, but we'd like to see it a little bit higher. Again, when that combination hits, it's normally about the best turnaround sign you could hope for in the market. The other thing I really want to see is that the Mag 7 continue to drive. We are actually seeing that the last 2 days. So exactly what I was hoping to see. That's what we're seeing. Mag 7, instead of leading the correction to the downside, they're leading the rebound to the upside. By the way, I didn't include Apple on my list here, but Apple looks beautiful today. And so I really like Apple right now. I think it's the best stock, in the market. So hard to go wrong, I think, when it shows signs of strength and rebound. But in general, the Mag 7 led by Tesla really showing a lot of leading strength right now. And if we get that, plus just, like we've talked about the other kind of bullish signs, I think things look really good. So, what do I like? Well, this is just a couple that I threw out there yesterday that I'll share with you guys today. I like LLY with a target of about 900 bucks. So that's LLY. Oh, I forgot to share with you. But before I jump into this, the other reason that I think that this is looking really promising on the insider buying is because we're already seeing a ton of it in the dark pools. So if you look here, let me just post this real quick. So the dark pools are basically the hidden exchanges where people start putting money in before they want to tip off the world, but they're actually investing back in the market. What you see here is just in the last 10 days. And what you'll notice, every one of those assets are basically broad index assets. So we have 26 billion that has moved into the SPY in the last 8, 9 days. IVV 20 billion, VOO another S&P index 4.5 billion, Qs which is the Nasdaq 4 billion, IWM 3 billion. That's not all. There's more than that. So we have, we're getting up to 50 plus $billion in just the last 8 days, moving behind the scenes that is not going to show up in your regular volume. That gives me confidence that this actually already is happening. It's just happening a little more in the shadows than what people are seeing.
Nate, is that a free source where you got that?
No, this is actually a paid. I pay the
Oh,
data for
we had
this
a
one.
question here in the chat where to get it, but it sounds like it's paid.
Yeah, so this is a paid source that I use to get the data. There are some free that do okay. They just don't seem to be as real time and accurate. So again, I think this process is already starting. It's just kind of happening behind the scenes. And LLY, like I said, like health, and I also like financials as two kind of steady sectors that do a great job of participating in the upside, but also have a little more resilience to the downside. So you can trade them directly with XLV and XLF, but you can also pick some great stocks. LLY is in one of the longer correction periods of the last 2 decades for it. A lot of that has to do, I think, with the political pressure, RFK, all that kind of stuff. But I think with a stock like LLY, what's going to typically happen is you're going to have that macro pressure. You're going to have reasons that people, are bearish on it. And then they're going to post their earnings, and their earnings are still going to be amazing in spite of, macro pressure and other kind of theoretical reasons that they could go down. They're going to continue to put up really positive numbers. And so I like LLY. By the way, last Monday, we asked the question, when is it time to buy Tesla? We said, Tesla is famous for these really dramatic corrections. We're right back in the neighborhood of, a dramatic correction for Tesla. We've seen it over and over and over again in the stock, and it happened to be just about the bottom when we talked about this last Monday. I said that I think Tesla represents the single best risk to reward opportunity in the entire stock market, whether you're a true Tesla believer and you think it's definitely going to all-time highs or not. I still think that it is probably the best risk to reward. So here it is. I said immediate target here will be 340, so just like kind of a 50% correction. For me, it's almost impossible to believe that the collapse in Tesla was not an overcorrection based on the true value of the stock and the upside. And so just to put some really basic numbers on it here for Tesla, if you believe that Tesla is going to go back to all-time highs with, say, a 30% chance, or in my opinion, about a 50% chance that Tesla can hit all-time highs in the next year, you could buy an option. You could buy a $450 call option that is going to be relatively cheap a year out or 18 months out and probably get paid 20 to 30x to 1 on a chance that you might think has 50-50 odds or 3-to-1 odds. So just from a risk reward perspective, even if you're not a diehard Tesla believer, because I'm not, I was wanting to short Tesla and, was talking about it publicly that I thought it was overvalued 6 months ago. But now, just from a strictly risk reward ratio, it's hard for me to imagine there's a better play out there. So that's Tesla. Immediate play is 340, but the super risk reward plays, of course, hey, all-time highs, do robots work? Is Elon going to figure out a way to make it happen? If so, hard to get a better risk reward. GE, I think, is shooting to all-time highs. Target here, I put question mark because for me, this is just to see how high it can go. I love stocks that have, massive government contracts. And I think, honestly, one of the things that we're going to see happen here is that SpaceX is going to continue to make headlines, continue to talk about Mars, continue to save astronauts, continue to, do things because Elon's in the position that he's in. And because SpaceX is not public, you're going to see a tailwind of the public aerospace stocks from what SpaceX does. And I think GE is best positioned to take advantage of that tailwind. So I like GE. Think it's going to make all-time highs. Wouldn't be surprised if, around this time next year, it is a $300+ stock. Also
It
like
actually just hit
OKE.
all-time highs just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, sorry. This chart is from yesterday, by the way. So we're
Oh,
already up a
cool.
couple bucks from these yesterday charts. OKE, here's a little more boring one. So this is OKE. It's an energy stock, mostly natural gas, but does a lot of different energy, pays a really great dividend. And I think one of the things that we could see if we do get a bullish market here, which I kind of am optimistic that we will, especially in Q2, that will be a little bit different than the previous, 2023, 2024, is I think we're going to see a little more even rotation. So we're not going to see Mag 7 up 30% and energy, 0%. I think we're going to see a little more even rotation in these stocks. And I like some of the energy ones that are actually, high upside, like OKE, that also pay a nice dividend. So yes, OKE is probably going to move slower than Tesla if we get a nice rebound here, but pays you a nice dividend to hold it, and has historically been a pretty great mover. Again, I would consider this an overcorrection that we've had on OKE here, and so I like it. Nice clean break yesterday. If we get it to continue on the weekly, I like trading this up to at least the midpoint here at 108, if not all-time high. So I like OKE as kind of a nice mix in there. You've got some health, you've got some Mag 7 tech action, you've got some energy in there for you as well. One thing Graham asked me to mention here today that I have been super pumped about lately is this weekend trade that we did. So this is something that Graham and I actually originally talked about a couple weeks ago that I told him would be months away from ever talking about it. And then if you guys have been following along, he ended up putting the screws to me and making me release this before I leave this week, which I'm leaving tomorrow for Pebble Beach, which means there's less than 24 hours for you guys to even hear about the strategy before we close it up. But the really cool thing about this strategy is that it flips everything I thought I knew about the weekends on its head and creates probably one of the coolest trades ever. Because if you know anything about weekends, you know that the options market has to price in volatility on the weekend. So what most people and what I tried to do was chase big moves because, the weekends are going to have big moves. So I should chase those big moves on the weekend. Turns out that if you actually flip that narrative completely on its head and take advantage of the extra volatility priced in, you can have a 90+% win rate over the last 2 years and make really nice returns. We did a live trade with my members on Friday last week. We hit the trade before the weekend even started, but by the way, it would have worked out anyway. But a really cool trade, 1-for-1 officially, but also on the data, 10 for 10 in 2025 in spite of the crazy market. Lots of reasons why we're 10 for 10, including some filters that we use and just how the weekend functions. But I just wanted to give an official update that we now have about 24 hours left for an opportunity on the weekend options. If you guys are interested in probably one of the coolest strategies we've ever found, and by the way, that has a 90+% hit rate based on the data, I think we're going to be able to play the presentation. Are we going to be able to do that, Graham, here so that people can
Yeah,
just check it out
Deanna's
right
gonna put it
without
up.
leaving?
Deanna's gonna put it up. It's the
Okay.
It's the strategy presentation Nate and I gave on Sunday. Now, like Nate hinted at, a little arm twisting, leaking some data. Made him do it, but this is going off the internet tomorrow, so this is going to be one of the last chances you can see this before we take it down off the internet. We want to keep it small and special. We want the people who are going to take action and join and take part in the strategy. We want it to really be a tight knit group. So it will be one of the last times you can see this strategy overview. Again, tomorrow, I don't know the exact time, but we're taking it off the internet tomorrow. So definitely stay here, stay put, grab a pen and paper, and see what this is all about before Friday comes too with the next trade. So,
All
yes, it is different
right.
from automated options. This is a weekend trade, something we didn't even know was possible until recently. So, let's go ahead and play this. And again,
Check this out,
don't go
guys.
anywhere, guys. This
This
is
is super
this is
cool.
one of the last times you'll be able to see this. See ya. Started, Nate. We got a pretty big room here today. Now, obviously, guys, the profits and performance shown, not typical. We don't make any future earnings claim. We don't have a magic ball. There's going to be winners. There's going to be losers. Now, the trades expressed today are from historical backtested data in order to demonstrate the potential of the system. We did have that big, nice winner this past Friday that a lot of you guys were able to take advantage of. With that said, guys, if we're looking at the total typicality and the total track record performance, we're looking at about a 20% per trade over the weekend and a 94.4% win rate with an average winner of 26%. Now, when we flip that into terms of what that means for money, we're looking at about $1,344 in income based on 5K starting out. So 1,344. That said, you don't need that much to start out. I think, Nate, the number's right around $200 to get started if people want to get started small and look to scale over time. So you can start with $200, start with 1,000, start with 10,000, whatever you're comfortable with, or start paper trading. Because guys, there's going to be winners, there's going to be losers. The whole purpose of this research is to give you guys an edge in the markets. And I have to say for myself, winning 80% of the time is an edge. 85% a very strong edge. 90% plus, you are in the top elite brackets of market traders. So this is a really, really great strategy here. Now, my name is Graham Lindman, and I have one question for you today. What are you doing this upcoming Friday? Well, some folks will be stuck glued to Fox News, maybe CNBC or X, formerly known as Twitter, worrying about what big news might break. And others will be headed to their second job, picking up overtime hours at Saturday and Sunday. This upcoming Friday, my special guest will be deploying a very special type of trade set to target right around $1,000 over the weekend. I'm talking right around $1,000 by Monday morning. No, you don't need to have decades of experience like my guest to make it happen. You don't need a massive $25,000 account to do it either. And you certainly don't need to place any sort of complex iron condor or butterfly spreads to take advantage of this either. It doesn't matter if you've been investing for years or if you still consider yourself a rookie. Anyone with a normal brokerage account can take part in this weekend trade. And as long as you have your position set before the closing bell on Friday afternoon, you're good to go. And depending on how much you invest, you too could be set to target maybe $500, maybe $1,000, sometimes even more by the time Monday morning opening bell rings. For example, let's take a look at this. On August 2nd, anyone could have taken a few minutes to place a quick trade before the weekend hit, then maybe hit the lake for some weekend fun, and came back Monday to see an extra $943 sitting in the brokerage account. Not bad. And then the next Friday rolled around, August 9th, you could have set the trade, got the classic car show over the weekend.
With the guy in a Steelers jersey there,
There you go.
by the
There
way,
you go, Nate.
repping.
A little represent. All right. And woke up Monday with a crisp $1,052 in weekend income. And then a few days go by, do it again every single Friday, Friday, August 16th. Maybe hit a few buttons on the phone or laptop to get in before the Friday close, before the weekend hits, and then catch a round of golf with some friends or dinner and live music for the evening, maybe brunch the next morning. Whatever it is you like to do, it's your weekend. Spend it how you want. And when Monday came, instead of dreading the start of the new week, folks could have come back to a nice $833 in the account on Monday morning. And we could just set this trade one weekend after the next. Friday, August 23rd, the very next weekend. Step one, place a trade. Step two, go enjoy life. There's nothing left to do. Maybe that means taking a relaxing day or weekend ahead. And when it worked out, come back Monday morning to catch an extra $1,090 from weekend income. Now, before I get carried away, and I'm very excited so I can get carried away easily, especially when it comes to talking about Nate's strategy, I want you to know not every weekend trade will work out. You guys are smart enough to know this. Like with any investment strategy, there's bound to be winners and there's bound to be losers along the way. That said, what really caught my eye about this weekend income approach is that according to the data, folks could have already hit with an outstanding 94.4% accuracy on nearly 100 weekend trades. That would have been like winning 18 consecutive weekends in a row before taking the first loser. That's how good that number is. So you can see why my ears perked up when my guest first showed me this all new strategy. Because when things work out like they would have in August, those four examples I just showed you, we're talking about a nice little buffer for the month. In this case, $3,920 coming in the door. Not bad. Now, I'm not going to talk your ear off trying to tell you what an extra $3,900 might mean for you. You probably already have a pretty good idea in your head. But I think we can all agree that a few $1,000 for maybe 15 minutes of work in August would have been more than worth it. And even better, it's not like there's any of shortage of opportunities to show you either. Each and every weekend, as long as the setup is right, we get to do it again every Friday. For example, let's look at the next weekend that hit. Friday, September 6th. Just punch in the new trade, set it, and forget it. And on Monday, the brokerage should have automatically closed you out with one of the biggest paydays so far. This was one of the bigger ones, $3,000. Then again, Friday, September 13th, the very next weekend. Set the trade, head out for the weekend. Maybe rent an RV or do something fun. Once again, Monday morning, folks could have found another $803 in the account. And it's not like there's only a handful of examples to show you today. When you hit 94% of the time, there's really no shortage of winners to show you guys. Like what you could have seen the very next weekend, September 20th, $847. And then the next one, September 27th, $1,048 in weekend income. So let me catch my breath and let me ask you guys again this one important question today. What are you doing this upcoming Friday?
Hopefully, everyone's saying trading with Nate is what you're doing this upcoming Friday.
That's right. Well, I'd like to invite you to join my special guest to place a very special type of trade on Friday, set to target right around $1,000 over the weekend. Now, if that sounds like something you'd be up for, then saddle up. Because over the next few minutes, my guest will show you quite a few things. He's going to walk you through the giant misconception that holds people back from these weekend trades. How the CBOEs moved to launch these daily options, these short dated options, just recently opened the door for this all new style of trading. The hidden upgrade inside of a standard brokerage account that can unlock these income opportunities for you, plus the most important technical market factor that can help us capture between $500 to $1,000 in payouts with maximum accuracy. So I want to welcome you to the weekend options experience here for the first time ever. Like I mentioned a moment ago, my name is Graham Lindman. Now, you might recognize me from my flagship strategy, the Perfect Apple Trade, which has reached over 100,000 people worldwide. Or maybe you've heard of my famous wrap orders, which has helped folks see doubles in their trading. Now, given my track record and expertise, I normally don't take trade recommendations from other people. But when it comes to Nate, I always listen. You see, despite having one of the most impressive track records that I've seen in the world of finance, including publicly growing a 10K stake to north of $50,000 over the course of 4 months, plus, take a look at this, earning another $100,000 last year in his investment in dividend portfolio alone. There you see the P&L. Despite all the success, you're not going to see him on Kramer's Mad Money, not on Squat Box, not on CNN's Your Money. You're more likely to catch him hanging out with his family and friends at an amusement park or a ballpark than more likely than you'll see him in New York City. But even though he's not strapped to a desk on Wall Street wearing a suit and tie, he's been able to routinely deliver for folks over and over again across his strategies. Again, a lot of you guys are here in this room right now, like Carrie R., who said, Nate's program is instrumental in the growth of my account through the use of options. Rich said, Nate makes the trade so easy and follows each step of the way. He makes a complicated system very easy to follow, and he makes me money. Scott said, Nate has totally changed my options trading experience. My account balance is up almost 20% in a month. Nice job, Scott. And I love this one from Linda. I came in not knowing anything about options. Nate is a great teacher, and I'm grateful. My account is growing, and I can't wait to do more trades. And then there's many, many more. There's a dozen for you guys to just look at quickly. Now, while we've enjoyed stories like these from his very best students, today Nate is doing something totally different. He's unveiling a new way to target extra cash, this time over the weekend, while most folks are out there left making nothing. And he's going to invite you to join him in taking the next trade this upcoming Friday. Go ahead and circle your calendar about 100 times for Friday. And while we can't promise future returns or protect against losses, it'll be targeting right around $1,000 by the time Monday hits. So, Nate, it's great to have you on today. Thank you for carving out time on your busy, busy day today. Take it away from here, my friend.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on and kind of forcing me to do this. Originally, I was not sure about it, but now obviously just doing some trades with people, getting some winners in there and all the feedback. I am absolutely pumped to be here. And thanks, everyone. Massive room today. So obviously a lot of other people pumped as well. So thanks for being here. And today, really, I want to shatter all the previous notions when it comes to weekend trading, including my own, by the way, from just very recently, and set folks up with a brand new way to target extra income by the time Monday morning hits. Now, if you've never made a penny trading over the weekend, or if you've avoided the weekend altogether out of fear, don't beat yourself up. Like I said, most people assume the weekend is risky or unpredictable. Even Google, if you just search in it, the first thing it's going to tell you is, yeah, hey, it's risky. Okay, so that kind of common fear out there is very public. It's what everyone points to. And if you asked me 10 months ago, or maybe even 6 months ago, I would have 100% agreed. In fact, in October, I was live in front of a huge crowd, one of the biggest meetings we had, saying, hey, don't trade over the weekend. It's the risk reward doesn't make sense for weekend trades. However, thanks to a slight adjustment to my usual trading strategy and a trick that's helped me eliminate essentially all the weekend volatility, all the big losers that we had in the original testing, I've had to completely change my tune. And that's because I found some data that suggested that weekends weren't only worth trading, but potentially the very best opportunity there is to take advantage of extra income from the stock market. You see, not only is this all new way of targeting cash flow over the weekend actually safer than the methods that I'd used before, but the profitability and equity curve is probably the best blend of consistency and upside that I've ever seen from any of the data that I've looked at. And you can take a look at the model portfolio just for the last couple of years, and this is without investing a single penny. It's just the natural kind of compounding of this over the last couple of years, which includes trades that happened over 6 major market corrections, including the one that we're in right now. So let me ask you, do you see those drawdowns on the equity curve? Do you see big 20% drops in the equity curve over the course of those couple of years? Because this includes 42 weekends where the S&P fell over the weekend. Okay, just to be clear, inside this curve, we're including 42 weekends where it closed Friday and opened lower on Monday. Do you see 42 losers in that equity curve? The answer is no, obviously, right? And that's really the power that we're going to get into, is that it's not just that the market has kind of a hack, but the opportunity is better even when the market's going down, which, if you're watching the markets right now, probably feels like a very good thing. So according to our research, after 70 of these weekend trades, only 4 would have lost. And that includes during the most recent market scare. So that's why I had no choice but to throw every idea I had about weekend trading out the window once I verified all the data, because the numbers really don't lie. And as long as we set up a very specific type of trade, you do have to set up the right kind of trade. You can't just trade blindly. On Friday over the weekend, we have a chance to target 789, 943, 1057 by the time Monday hits, even if the markets end up higher, lower, or going nowhere at all, which is totally fine for us as well. For example, let's take a look recently in December. So keep in mind, it looked like the markets were about to take a massive plunge, maybe even head into a bear market. The VIX, which is the volatility index, spiked to the highest level we'd seen in nearly 18 months. And the S&P was really starting to crumble. You remember this was kind of post-election hype. It started to crumble pretty hard in December. But of course, none of that matters for the weekend options, because you could have tuned out all that noise and simply placed a trade on Friday, December 13th, not worrying about market direction or anything else, then unplugged. And sure enough, over the weekend, the markets were totally flat, which actually happens a lot more than people realize. And anyone invested in the S&P 500 would have earned basically $0 over the weekend, as they held it over the course of those couple of days. But at the same time, anyone taking the weekend options could have seen a very different story, a big one here, $1,929 in weekend income. So then the next Friday rolled around, Friday, December 20th, right before Christmas. And Graham, had you been following along, you could have set your trade about 60 seconds right from your phone, then put it back in your pocket. And this time, the market actually did go higher over the weekend. A really nice bullish move here. If you remember, it was one of the only bull moves we got before Christmas was that weekend. And anyone invested in the S&P would have got a nice 0.5%. Okay, not bad. Who can complain about that? You would have picked up a lovely $25 in profit. I'm sure that would have covered all your Christmas presents with that $25.38, or more likely would have covered lunch. However, if you took the weekend options, it would have been about 31 times the result. So about $775 in income over the exact same weekend, which would have been enough to grab some college football playoff tickets and dinner after. That's where I was on that weekend at the Penn State SMU game, which thankfully Penn State won, but it was about 13 degrees and about -2 degrees with the wind chill. And so the weather was not exactly nice, but the game was great. And thankfully, $775 was more than enough to cover those tickets. But we're not done yet. A little bit later, just the very next week. Notice we're not cherry picking and skipping around a whole bunch of weeks, just week after week after week. So this is Friday, December 27th. Once again, anyone following along could have set the trade with a few clicks on your phone or computer. This time, the S&P took a nosedive over the weekend. So if you remember, this was going into the new year. It was pretty ugly. If you put it in the S&P, you would have lost about $68. There goes that lunch money, right? But anyone taking the weekend option could have automatically cashed out again, about $1,037 in weekend income, even when the market went down, which is right in line with the average ROI based on that 5K stake.
Okay, Nate, I think we all want to see what you're doing here. I mean, making money when the stock market is up or even flat over the weekend, that's one thing. But having a shot to do it even when the S&P took a plunge, well, that puts things on a whole new level here, especially when you consider that folks could have pocketed an extra $3,743 during one of the worst months of the year. You guys saw the December chart. It was ugly. And I hate to spoil the surprise for everyone, but if you fast forward to the next month, January, it was even better. Take a look at this, guys. Friday, January 3rd, folks could have set the trade. And while Nate was parked on the couch watching Penn State win in round two of those playoffs, well, the weekend trade was humming along for him
Let's
in the
not talk
background.
about any more weekends after round
There's
two.
your
Let's
two
just
winners.
leave it at round two.
Yeah. By the time Monday rolled around, a whopper could have been sitting in the account. This was one of the bigger ones, $2,800. And then the next week, Friday, January 10th, take a look at this. You could place a quick trade from the phone while catching some golf, and then back to focusing on winning that bet with your brothers, which hopefully you won there. But regardless, this time another Monday payday hit, automatically cashing out with $1,057. Now, I can go on and on. Trade number 3 in January, 892 in weekend income. And trade number 4 in January, $909 in weekend income. That's another four winners in a row and 5,667 in weekend income for the month of January alone. Not bad. So, Nate, tell us, how do these weekend options work?
Well, first, just to be clear, because you just showed a whole bunch of winners, I want to remind everyone, not every single trade will be a winner. I think this is a pretty incredible hack, but it doesn't mean you win every single time. So, like always, I'm going to tell you, don't bet the farm. Don't come in Friday saying, hey, I'm going to make it or break it on this one trade. Instead, do what I always tell you: swing the bat, be consistent, use normal risk management, and with a really high win rate, try to stack up trades over time. Because with that 94.4% win rate, it wouldn't take much time to see your account scale, even if you are being wise and risking a normal amount. Now, I'm not talking about earning enough to buy a Ferrari or a yacht after a few weeks, right? This is not like, hey, here's a way we found this hack that's going to make you wealthy. We mean hack as in a nice little edge in the market that gives you an advantage that you can scale up over time. And I'll say the data here is probably one of the most promising, if not the most promising report I've ever seen. Again, especially because it's totally opposite of what I was expecting. And depending on how much you would have started with, we'd be looking at anywhere from the mid figures to well over 100 grand just in the last 2 years from these actual trades. Literally following the exact same system weekend after weekend after weekend. But it wouldn't have happened overnight. It would have started by taking one trade at a time. And for you, it can start this upcoming Friday. Or for some of you, it already started Friday, which is fun. Because we did that. We already did it about 2 o'clock on Friday a couple days ago. I know a whole bunch of you already chimed in. Some of you in here as well. So I didn't get to post all the people who put their chats, and there's maybe 15 or 20 more that I forgot to post in here. But we had people say, hey, I hit the target already. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Paul sent, thanks, Paul, for doing that. Nick's in here as well. He said he hit it. Aaron's in here. Said only got one contract. Well, maybe next time 2 contracts and then 3 contracts. Bob was in there. Sorry, Bob, I didn't get to update yours and throw it in the chart here, but a whole bunch more. And same thing like in February. Again, February, not exactly a pretty month. We all remember what the sentiment was like. Things were looking fairly good. We're trying to make new highs after the election there until we weren't. And it happened incredibly quickly. So the S&P's been heading into full correction territory for the first time since August. Accounts were getting blown up left and right. At the same time, during the same month, anyone following along with weekend options could have actually had a perfect record in February. So weekend one, a juicy one here, 2,589 by Monday morning. So those of you asking, that's the 5K stake. So you put 2,000 in here, you're gonna make about $1,000 over the weekend just with a $2,000 stake. So these are pretty juicy wins here. Weekend 2, another $1,000 there. Weekend 3, another 900 plus bucks there. So that's in February where things were basically going straight down.
Nate, that's really, really impressive again. And that would have been 3 months in a row of winners, right?
Well, it's actually 4 months in a row of winners we had because we had 2320 in November from the 3 trades. Okay. Then we had 3743 in December from those 3 trades. And then we had 5,667 in January from 4 trades. And then we had 3 more in February for 5,009. And the people who are paying really close attention might notice that we don't have 4 trades in every week, and we're using some filters here to only have 3 in some months and 4 in others. And that's going to be super important later on.
Nate, this is good. These numbers are really good. That's $16,739 in weekend income over that 4 month stretch, or in other words, about 984 bucks per weekend on average during that time. And not one single loser in over 4 months. That's maybe the most impressive part. Now, I know that you're an expert when it comes to option selection and pairing up opportunities with high risk to reward. That's how you've been able to show top students some great results from your various strategy over the years. Like Richard, who said took 5 trades with 5 automatic wins, total of $4,434. Love that I can set it and forget it. Or Modi, who said I'm now 9 for 9, $11,250 for Modi. And then there's Roger, who said up $15,770 after the first 8 trades. And many, many more top stories. We can go on and on. But I also know that in order to get some of those results, you sometimes need to place trades that are a bit more complex. So I have to ask, is that what you're doing here? Is this some sort of iron condor, maybe a strangle or straddle?
Well, obviously, you can't do what we're talking about with regular calls and puts. I think people understand that more when we talk about, kind of the hack. But in my opinion, it is one of the more basic option trades out there. I mean, I have tons of people who have never traded options before and are basically pros at doing these types of options. And every single brokerage account is going to let you do this a lot more easily than those super complex strategies. But here's where it gets even better. You don't need a huge account to take these trades. In fact, the average entry is less than $200 a contract. So for those of you asking, do I have to use the 5K? Nope. And when you consider that you can purchase 3 contracts for the same cost as one measly share of the S&P 500. So you can get 3 different options contracts for if you just literally owned 1 share of the S&P, and then get about 25 to 50 times the upside from those contracts, right? So I think that's a pretty sweet deal. Anyone who understands the risk reward there, I think can understand more action and more risk reward for less dollars at risk. I think, pretty good trade-off.
Yeah, well, Nate, I definitely have to agree. So talk us through it. How does it work?
Okay, so this weekend opportunity is because of a special pricing phenomenon found inside the options market, which is really what I specialize in, specifically in the short dated options. Okay, so you have to understand market makers set the price for every single option out there. So if you go look at any option, whatever day, whatever stock, no matter what, it is a set price that market makers are doing based on their expected move and other volatility factors. And when market makers list short dated options, they calculate a standard amount of time premium for each day, right? They put it on the exchange. They know how many days until expiry. If you're entering on Monday, collecting income from the Tuesday option, you collect 1 day worth of premium. Pretty simple. If you're entering on Tuesday with an option that expires Wednesday, what do you guys think? 1 day of premium, right? Okay, so on and so forth. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all the same. Now, here's what's really important, and this is what brings the weekend options to life. Unlike the other weekdays, specifically entering on Friday and collecting the Monday premium, you actually do get extra premiums for the weekend. So even though it's just one trading day, you actually do get that extra premium priced in for Saturday and Sunday, which is like instantly tripling the amount of premium you can go after, even though it's still just one trading day. And even though the markets are closed on Saturday and Sunday, you're still getting paid all 3 days just based on the pricing. Now, I've seen some people take that information. It's not brand new information that there's extra premium in there. And what they end up doing is just blindly thinking, okay, it's such a big hack that I'll just blindly trade it over the weekend, hope for the best, and win all the time on the S&P 500. Now, if you think all you need is more premium to earn money hand over fist in the markets, not so good news for you, because if you actually look at the data and run the numbers for yourself, that can be a huge mistake. Again, I think we have a hack here, but the market's a little too sophisticated for you just to go blindly trade and hope for the best, right? In fact, I did the data here, and it's a really good example because you can see right here, the premiums are most certainly much, much bigger over the weekend. I don't think anyone would dispute that who looks at the data. However, by blindly trading short-dated options over the weekend, you have a pretty terrible risk reward, okay? So you have about a 52.2% win rate, which, that could be fine if you're getting big enough winners, but where it really gets ugly is over here on the horrifying 74.2% drawdown. So that's what happens if you're just trading the weekend blind. And that's why I've been hard-pressed against systematically trading over the weekend. But thanks to a recent discovery we made, everything changed, really did kind of flip me 180 on this. And it's all about a slight adjustment to the usual option strategy, the same kind of strategies I love, that we're actually able to take advantage of these triple weekend premiums without taking on the major drawdowns, the major downturns, and hitting with a higher accuracy than literally any other day of the week, which is really what shocked me to my core at 94.4% accuracy according to the data. And as Graham mentioned earlier, that's the same as going 18 weeks in a row before you take one single loss, which is just insane. And it couldn't be more straightforward because you place the quick trade same time on Friday before the close. And then what do you do next? Nothing. That's what you do next. Literally nothing. Win or lose, the position automatically closes out on Monday at some point during the day. Okay. So hopefully first thing in the morning, but at some point during the day, no matter what, you're going to do no extra work to get that trade locked and loaded. For example, let's take a deep dive here into November. So we just talked about these trades. Now in November, very uncertain month, obviously, an election month, Fed interest rates, global conflicts, all the stuff you guys know. Naturally, the S&P 500 was taking a lovely little hit with all that chaos. Big old gap down there. You guys remember that 3+% gap down? That was an ugly one. And in the first week of November, the numbers of put option buyers exploded to levels we hadn't seen in years. So this is the put to call ratio here. You can see puts absolutely rampaging in the first week of November with all of the fear. But of course, none of that really mattered because thanks to a slight adjustment to my usual option strategy and the triple weekend premiums, anyone following along could have had another month of winners, all winners, by the way, in November. So week number one, okay, this is the first weekend, Friday to Monday. Markets went down, doesn't matter. $775 there in weekend income. Weekend number two, when stocks were flat, which again happens a lot more than people realize, $754 in weekend income there. Then we got the last trade of the month here, which was number three, when the S&P shot up nicely. And in this case, another $789 in weekend income for November.
Well, Nate, I just want to stop you for a moment. You just said that trading over the weekends the normal way, or the way people might do it blindly, that only produced a 55% win rate. That's really no better than flipping a coin and hoping for the best. Yet you've somehow managed to find a way to leverage these triple premiums on the weekend and produce a win rate nearly twice as good. Guys, we're talking about taking the win rate from 55% all the way to 94.4%. And it's not like you're going for measly 3 to 5% returns either, where 5K invested would only pay maybe $250. So from the study, nearly 100 trades analyzed, the average weekend winner sits at $1,344 in weekend income. That's a pretty big chunk of change. So I think it's time you tell us how this is even remotely possible.
Well, it's the phenomenon behind it all that actually is extremely simple. So yes, it's crazy to go from 55 to 94%, but it's actually pretty simple. So the reason market makers price in these triple premiums over the weekend is because the weekend news tends to be more volatile, just like we've seen, and everyone answered yes at the beginning, right? So we've seen this firsthand in 2025. We had tariff news, we had the DeepSeek AI news hit over the weekend. We've had overseas wars, we had announcements of missiles flying on Saturdays and Sundays. And so we get these crazy Monday opens. So in order to cover themselves from someone blindly buying a call or put for dirt cheap and making out like a bandit from the weekend volatility, the market makers increase the premiums like crazy, right? They can't give you too good of a deal on that expected move. So you need a really, really big move over the weekend to make any sort of money. And by the way, I found this out firsthand doing the testing. And then you need almost every weekend to have that big move if you actually want to build your account consistently. So that's really why I refuse to touch the trades, because I ran the data and you have to predict big moves and then get the big move in the right direction over and over and over again, which is essentially gambling. You're essentially doing weekend gambling at that point. So not only do we need a big move, we also need to be on the correct side of that move, which is a brutally tough task. I don't know about you guys, but if you looked at the last 10 weekends like I have, good luck predicting the weekend direction over and over again. But that's when it kind of hit me to flip this thing on its head. So since the market makers price in these triple premiums specifically over the weekend and not any other day, right? Kind of obvious that trading those short dated options on Friday is actually unlike trading options any other day of the week. All right. So why would I try to apply an option strategy that works on Tuesday or Wednesday for that normal 1 day premium onto those special Friday options, which behave totally differently? It just literally doesn't make any sense. It would be like using the average temperature in Antarctica to predict how hot is it going to be in Florida today, right? The two apples and oranges, two different criteria, different options, different applications. And when that clicked, that's really what ultimately changed everything for me. I had to shift my thinking, start over with a completely blank slate on all my testing data for the weekend options. And that's what led me to the discovery that I really don't think anyone else is using right now, because the key to trading options with an extremely high win rate is not some fancy prediction model. It really isn't. It's giving yourself enough cushion on the position. Now, maybe that doesn't sound as sexy as a super algo AI that predicts when the market's going to go, but good luck with that. The reality is, to get enough wins, it's all about how can I keep a good risk to reward and give myself enough cushion to win trades. So, for example, I have some strategies where I have about a 1% cushion here, where as long as we get like a nice 1% move over time in the stock market, our brokerage is going to automatically cash us out and pay us on the trade. So that the cushion there is I need about a 1% move up, and I sneak out of the trade with a winner, even if the market drops. So even if I'm wrong, that cushion is there to give me winners. Now, here's what's crazy. Okay, pay attention to this part. Since these Friday options basically have triple the premium priced in automatically without me doing anything, we can make a slight adjustment to my usual options and then actually get up to triple the cushion. So the same thing that I just explained that helps give us extra wins is 3 times stronger over the weekend, as long as you leverage it the correct way, which I was doing the opposite direction. And then I realized I needed to flip it around. So instead of needing a 1% directional move, like we would normally get, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to get a good win, by making the small adjustment in the options, leveraging the triple premiums and getting that triple cushion, as long as it moves in my favor during any part of the trade, like you guys all saw on Friday, we got a little 0.5% move up on the end of Friday. A whole bunch of people got winners. So just a little move, we're golden, right? Or even if the stock market falls a little bit over the weekend, we can still hit our profit target. And actually, it can fall a decent bit and still put us in position to get our profit target. And so that's really been the secret sauce behind these weekend options, using the triple premiums that are baked into the option to give us the triple cushion by setting up the trades the right way. So let's look at October 11th. So if you took a trade with me on October 11th, you could have placed it, right around 3:30 that Friday, just before the closing bell. And then with the options criteria I'd give you, you'd automatically get triple premium automatically as soon as you set up the trade. And more importantly, triple the cushion to put yourself into a winning position. And in this case, your brokerage should have automatically cashed you out literally as soon as the market opened Monday. Because think about it, it has all that cushion, any positive move, boom, going to take you out immediately, right? So this one would have been about $1,026 in weekend income, hands-free, without taking any steps, not checking the market Monday morning, not waiting for me to text you or send you a Telegram alert, automatically taken out of your brokerage account. Now, another great example of this is on July 26th. So again, that Friday, anyone could have placed a quick trade before the close to take advantage of those triple premiums, okay, at the end of the day on Friday. And with the right option, you'd also be taking advantage of that triple cushion. And by Monday morning, nice little pop there, automatically closed out for $1,018, basically as soon as the market opened Monday without you taking a single action. Even though, by the way, the stock ended up falling on that same day. Now, I can give you about a dozen, well, actually, I can give you about 5 dozen more examples of these exact kind of trades. Like Friday, April 26th, place the trade, triple cushion. What do you guys think is going to happen this time? Little gap up. Even though we got a little shake around there, no big deal. $1,836 in income. Even though everyone else is probably losing money and being angry all day Monday, we've been on the sidelines with a nice little cash position already settled. Now, obviously, I don't take this trade blindly every single weekend, right? That's super important because the weekend does have volatility. We're not ignoring that. There are a few other filters I run through that help me jack it up to that incredible 94.4% accuracy, including an overlooked technical pattern in the market that actually was one of the biggest things that jacked up our win rate that I'm pretty sure no one else is even looking at when they go into these weekend trades. So typically, we get 3 to 4 each and every month that we can tap into. You saw lots of examples of those so far. Each one's going to be targeting right around $1,000 over the weekend. To be more specific, we had an average of $1,344 in weekend payouts when the trades work out. So those are the winners, right? So if you'd like to get in on this upcoming opportunity with me, because we're going to have one Friday, assuming everything works out, which of course we expect it will, because, over 80, maybe even 90% of the time we get a trigger. So we expect that all to work out. I'd love to have you join me this coming Friday. Some of you already got in on the action last Friday, but even if not, I'd love to get you in this Friday. But like you all know from all the messaging and the telegrams and what we talked about in our classes, this is a very, very exclusive offer that we're doing today. We decided, we went back and forth on this. We started at 1,000. We decided we're only allowing 500 people to join the early access group. It really is an early access group. We're gonna have to shut it down. I'm gonna be gone. There's lots of reasons we need to get people in and shut the door. So 500 is the number, period, end of story, not one more. Now, I have about 3,200 active people just literally right now who are active in the last week or whatever that screenshot was taken across my different services, meaning only a small fraction of them are going to end up getting in on weekend options. So if you already have your mind made up, if you already know this is sick, I'm in, and you want to be in, just give me a yes in the chat. I'd love to know those of you who are already basically like, yeah, let's do this thing. Okay, good. Me too. You guys had the exact same response when I saw the data, right? So thanks. We said we want to know how many people are ready so that we know that we need to manage the order form because the 500 number is very serious. It's not like a false scarcity thing. I need to keep it limited. I need to get people in. We need to do the training, all that good stuff. So let me introduce, thanks to all of you. I can't even, there's hundreds of yeses there. Weekend options for the very first time. There she is in all her glory, looking beautiful. Those trees remind me of where I'm going to be in just a couple of days at Pebble Beach. Let's go. And so when you take one of the limited spots today, here's what you can expect to receive. So every single week we get a trigger. I'm going to give you my exact weekend option income opportunity, the same one that I'm going to trade with my own money. I'll send you the entry, specific options, as well as the automated exit, which, like I said, boy, is that thing beautiful. Sometimes even hits Friday before the weekend starts. So you should expect 3 to 4 weekend trades on average per month, okay? Each one we're going to target in a similar neighborhood, okay? So it's going to be 1,000, 1,200, 1,344 based on the 5K stake, okay? So if you're trading with $2,000, you're going to be targeting, $600, 650, $700. It's going to be based on what you trade with. Now, every alert is going to hit your inbox right around the same time in the last hour of the day. Very important to the criteria, the last hour of the day. So you never have to be glued to the screen, wondering when to enter, when to exit. None of that, like all my strategies, or most of them anyway. I'm going to make it easy, set your watch by it, and I'll even include text and Telegram alerts just to make sure you don't miss it. Maybe you'll be on your phone like I will be at Pebble on Friday. You don't want to miss it, right? But that's just the tip of the iceberg for the new members who joined today. So I'm going to cover every last detail about these weekend options, how to select the best strikes, how to get those triple premiums, how that cushion actually works, the different scenarios, all that stuff, as well as covering the exact filters that we use. And by the way, some of these filters I suggest you use in your own trade. Okay, so I'm going through all the details in the masterclass. I'm sure many of my students are here. They know that I don't leave any stones unturned in the masterclass. I want to hand you the keys to the kingdom so you know exactly what to do and how to do it. So I think the strategy alone is worth 50. I don't know why we put 1,500. It's worth a lot more than that. That equity curve is insane, especially 94.4% win rate, stacking over the weekend, turning one of the biggest kind of misconceptions on its head and turning it into a money producer. This thing is amazing. But I'm not only going to teach you the basics of the strategy, I have 2 bonuses I want to include as well. So extended hours trading. So this is one of the cool things that we do here. We're using weekend options specifically on tickers that allow you to trade even after the markets close. So this gives you extra time. I won't go into the weeds here, but it's another just kind of, there's just so many sneaky things built into the strategy that give you an extra advantage. So I'm going to walk you through that, plus how you can enter up to 15 minutes after the markets close if you want. Okay, so really cool little bonus there that you can do with these weekend trades. I'm going to show you how to set up the trade on Friday to automatically cash out as soon as we hit our target. Normally that happens on Monday morning when the markets open again, but sometimes the trades are so good that they get paid early on Friday. Okay, so again, normally we're waiting for Monday. That's the expected time for them to close. So you don't have to worry about day trading rules like that. You're not going to stack up a whole bunch of them. But when we get early paydays, it sure can be a lot of fun. Like May 31st, we hit one there. July 28th, we hit one there. Friday, March 7th, we hit one there. Imagine that. Imagine having gone into the weekend with the extra $943 in cash already in hand, right? Those are, I mean, it's a good weekend when the market opens money and you make money. It's an even better weekend when the money's already in the bank. You don't even have to worry about it. And some of you in here don't even have to imagine. You experienced it just a few days ago. Bob said March 21, add it to the list. That's right, Bob. So I gave out that trade on March 21, and a whole bunch of folks, sorry, I didn't get to add everyone's responses in here. I apologize. But a whole bunch of people hit the trade the very same day. That's the bonus payday when it hits the same day.
Nate, that's a wonderful, wonderful result. I'm sure everyone that was there on Friday is super, super stoked. And that's in line with what your top students have been seeing so far from your work in the past. Take a look here. Jeff told us started small. He's scaling up $3,700 in profits. Art, who's a retired Navy vet, said, I've been able to win 5 of the 6 trades so far. My total return has been a profit of $4,650. Thank you. Or what about Jack, who wrote in 3 for 3, up $9,000?
Well, I can't wait to hear from Jeff, Art, Jack. I mean, Bob, Linda, Roxanne, Aaron, all the folks who already jumped into this webinar as well. And let me know if your profit factor is even better than anything else you've done once you start trading the weekend options. And remember, actually taking these trades, it's a few clicks, okay? Even if you're brand new, you can become a pro at this at no time. Many of my students have done it before. And by the way, I have enough instruction to walk you through every single one. Like always, guys, this is a standard brokerage account. You need an internet connection. You need a few minutes on Friday to get into the trade. That's what you need to be able to do this. You don't, no other preconceived notions are required. Plus, you really don't need a big account. So the average cost here is about $2 a contract. That's what the options typically cost, right? So that means about $200 if you're trading one contract. By the way, if you have any questions about the membership, okay, the strategy, trade alerts, information, what brokerage works the best, you get a free pass to our daily customer support live, where we have people in that Zoom room for 3 hours a day for you, just waiting to answer your questions. So you can show up, hey, Nate gave this trade. I want to make sure I'm doing it right. Yep, you're doing it right. Let's look at it together. That's available to you every market day for 3 hours.
Nate, I'm really falling in love with these weekend options. And just when I think it can't possibly get any better, you pull a number like this one. And with the types of payouts that you've shown us today and the types that people got on Friday, experiencing it firsthand, I think 3 to 4 trades per month is plenty, especially when you consider that the data showed winning more than 9 out of every 10 weekends. I mean, let's just rehash some of those recent months again. 3 trades in November, $2,320 in weekend income. What about December? 3 trades, $3,743 in weekend income. How about January? One of the best months here. 4 trades, $5,667 in weekend income. February, similar story. 3 trades, $5,009 in weekend income, and no losers over that 4 month period. Let me ask you guys, who wouldn't want a shot at that? Nate, are you sure you want to limit this to only 500 spots for early access members? I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if the spots are gone by tomorrow morning.
Well, I am 100% sure. I have to limit it. You guys I already let everyone know that ahead of time. And I have a very good reason. Besides the fact I need to get all the members trained up before I head to Pebble Beach this week. That's the secondary reason. I also have another very good reason. So the other reason is that I'm going to do this way too cheap. I mean, I always try to do these way too cheap, but I think this one is the most extreme, way too cheap. So I want to get 500 folks onboarded today, get them rolling with the trades this coming week, get all, the training in there. And then I want to see them hit some substantial profits in their own account. Now, assuming we do just that, and I get their feedback, testimonials, success stories, heck, I already got a nice little jump start here with the first Friday trade, which is fun. Once I get all that, though, I can reopen memberships at a much, much higher price, what I would call a more reasonable price. And I'm not talking about just a couple $100. If the performance holds up, I think we'll end up charging, several $1,000s more for weekend options. I think that's just fair, given where the performance is. But for the 500 members who take action on the early access, so for those that get in the early access, you're going to get a massively discounted price that I will never offer again. This is it. Whether it's, like Graham said, sold out by tomorrow morning or whatever the case is, by the time I leave for Pebble, you'll never see this price ever again. And I just want to be very clear about that from the get.
Okay, well, I have been ready to go on this for weeks, ever since you first showed me the data. And at the time, you said you wanted to charge a couple $1,000, $5,000 at that more premium price if you released it. And that was before you stacked all the extra training into it, including a surprise bonus that we haven't even mentioned yet. So, Nate, if early access members aren't paying $5,000, what are we talking about here?
All right, so here is the plan. All right, everyone, this is where the rubber meets the road. You can forget about paying $5,000 or even $3,500, okay? Or you can even forget about the $2,495 that we listed on the main website during this special release, which will also come down after early access is over. So you won't even be able to get it for $2,495. If you're here right now, you're going to get an incredible offer to start trading with me this coming Friday. All right, now let me break it down for you. Here we go. This is where the rubber meets the road. So after analyzing nearly 100 trades across all different market conditions, including the recent slide, I've been blown away by the weekend options. Hopefully you are too. All of the trade examples, winning and losing combined. Anyone starting out with just $1,000. So if you start out with $1,000 after only 2 years, if you reinvested 33%, so you traded aggressively into each new trade, you would already be at $70,000 in profit. So let me just say that again because it's a pretty crazy number. Okay, anyone starting with $1,000, a tiny, tiny $1,000 account, and using a third of their portfolio in each trade since January of 2023 would be at 70,000 net earned in profits in weekend options.
And
I mean, crazy.
that doesn't even include Friday's trade that you guys just booked. I'm looking at the tracker here. You forgot to put in Friday's trade.
Doesn't even include Friday. So can you imagine if you started with twice that much? I mean, or what if you start with 5K, like the examples we've been giving? Those numbers would get pretty crazy pretty quick. So if you boil it all down based on everything we've looked at, we're looking at that average payout of $13.44 per weekend when it all worked out. So I had the idea. Let's go ahead and do the first discount, not based on $24.95. All right. So if you're one of the first 500, the ones who see an opportunity and don't hesitate, again, this is going to be a very tight window. Instead of charging $24.95, I'm going to set the price at that same $13.44 for the first year, the average weekend, literally the average weekend we've seen from the winning trades. That way, today's new members could have a legitimate shot at covering the membership with our first trade this upcoming Friday. And then on top of that, just to make it a ridiculous, complete, over-the-top no-brainer for everyone who said yes, they want to join. I know that $13.44 is an incredible deal, but I want to sweeten the pot. I want you to be an early access member and to know that you booked the deal of a lifetime when you joined as an early access member. So for those first 500 spots, those only 500 spots, I'm going to knock off an extra $500. $1 for every spot we're opening up today, an extra $500 off the membership, which makes it $844. Yes, $844. Even though I did tell Graham I was going to charge $5K once I first saw the data, it's $844.
Nate, for me to call this a no-brainer of a deal, that would be a massive understatement. Everyone needs to jump in on this ASAP. But folks, this is a limited time special. Nate's made that very clear. There's only 500 total spots available for the early access special. Once we hit that number, the team will be shutting this offer down. So when Nate does open it up again down the road, maybe a few months from now, you can bet your bottom dollar that it won't be anything near the $844 price that he set up today. So if you're ready to be one of the first in the world to take advantage of these weekend options with us, with Nate, leveraging a phenomenon that I don't think anyone else in the world is tapping into, unlocking 3 to 4 weekend opportunities every month, targeting $900, $1,000, sometimes even more by Monday morning. Well, guys, take one of these limited 500 spots. It's first come, it's first serve. The special deal will be shut down once we hit the 500 spot cap. So here comes the link in the chat. Thank you, Dakota, for posting that, guys.
There you
Click
go.
that link in the chat. 500 total spots. This is an early access special to get the first 500 going, and then the membership is closed down. So, guys, click that link in the chat or go to prosperitypub.com.
I forgot to mention
/500.
So I saw a whole bunch of people asking for the chat. I forgot to put this on a slide. Guys, if you're going to take one of the spots, I do also want you, you don't have to write anything, but I want you to also agree you will give feedback of how the trades are actually working out, because a big part of the 500 is I do want to build a library of what our results are, a true live track record with feedback. That's going to be important to me. I feel like I've gotten the habit of making things too cheap, and it's not, I just want to value, what we're doing appropriately. And so we are going to shut it down. I do want your feedback. You don't have to write anything formal, but just I want you to be aware that's what I'm expecting if you get that discount. Sorry, I just wanted to jump in with that real quick, Graham.
Awesome. Well, we already have over 100 chats here. I just opened up the chat. Over 100 chats, so I'm sure these spots are flying off. Guys, click that link in the chat to grab one of those first 500 spots or give us a call, 904-706-3537, and they'll get you taken care of here today. Again, it's not going to be $24.95 per year. It's not even going to be that $1,344 deal. It's not going to be an extra 500 off for that early 500 spots. Only $844 to get started. Guys, click that link in the chat to get rolling. And you don't want to miss the next trade. A lot of you guys were able to tap into Friday's trade. He gave you a little freebie. If you guys were there, you better be signing up right now.
I hope some people already paid for their membership just from Friday.
I sure hope so,
or at least
too.
a chunk of it,
And you guys, you don't want to miss the one coming up this very weekend. This is a very limited special, and we will be shutting down that 844 offer once the spots are full, which I wouldn't be shocked if we hit that limit by morning. Again, we've probably had 100 plus people already post here in the chat. So once you take the early access deal, on that next page, you can upgrade to lifetime access to weekend options for even less than it costs to join for 1 year. I know we had a lot of questions here about lifetime.
Ridiculous.
You can upgrade for dirt cheap as an early access member. So, as an early access lifetime member, you'll also get access to another very special bonus, something that's not available anywhere else in the world. I call it the double dip weekend income opportunities. Nate called it something else, but this bonus content is specifically for the lifetime members. And Nate will walk you through another weekend trade that you can take on top of the current position. It's a special type of trade that's shown the power to earn 2 to 3 times as much as we currently do on the weekend option. So this is going to be the supercharge the strategy. Now it's a more advanced play, but as you'll see in the special report, when you add it in, it can really max out the gains. But that additional bonus is only available to the folks who first take one of the spots right now by clicking the link in the chat, and then on that next page, upgrading to lifetime access to the weekend options. And again, you guys are going to see that price and you're going to be blown away. I don't know if we've ever offered a brand new product, a brand new strategy this affordable before, but that's why we have to cap these spots at 500. They are going to go fly off the shelves very, very fast.
I say every time that I'm going to stop doing these like I'm shooting myself in the foot by doing this. And then every time I get so amped up and so excited, I want everyone to join me for the next trade. I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's go. And then I want to do something. And I always want to treat my lifetime members really well. So I always try to make that go over the top with theirs. So I think we've loaded up, hopefully exceeded everyone's expectations on the value. And that I saw a whole bunch of you say, thank you, Nate. You really did discount it beyond what we were expecting. So I'm glad people are feeling that. And I hope every single one of you is able to join and get in. So if you guys already joined, put your name in here. I want to just shout out a couple people because I saw a whole bunch. I saw Bob and Linda and Aaron. I saw John. Almost every one of you said you got lifetime, I think. Who else said? I'm sorry, I'm scrolling. I can't catch up fast enough. But yeah, okay, here we go.
Babette asked if she goes to lifetime. Can she say how do you at Pebble?
Oh, maybe. I don't Our schedule is insane in Pebble Bab. I don't know if I'm going to sleep the whole time I'm there. But I'll let you know if we get a break. I'll be in Telegram saying, hey, I'm not actually golfing for 2 minutes in the day. Okay, so Sam, John, Jeffrey, Mike, Tola, Phil, Karen, Linda, Sally, John, Doug, Jeff, Nate. Oh, Nate, thanks, Nate. Nate's one of my overnight option guys too. All right, love it. MJ, Annette.
Nate,
Nancy,
I hate to
Stanley.
interrupt you here, but the membership has been open for a total of 5 minutes now, and it looks like the first 100 spots are gone. So, guys,
Oh,
don't know
geez.
fast. It's been 5 minutes. We're definitely going to probably hit this tomorrow
Oh,
morning,
another Nate.
tomorrow midday. So, guys, if you aren't available to get to the webpage right now from your phone or from your computer, guys, give us a call 904-706-3537. So at least they can mark down your spot. I'm not sure how they'll handle it if we sell out before you join, but at least give us a call.
All right. Jeez, that's okay. I can't keep up with the chat, but thank you. Another Nate, another Mark jumped in there. So I can't wait to get rolling. You guys know how amped up I get about this stuff. I can't wait to show you how hands-free it is. It is literally a couple clicks. It's not a cliche. It's literally a couple clicks. Once you get in, you're going to learn how to set up those automated exits. That could be a separate class altogether, especially the way we do it in this strategy because it's a little bit unique. But of course, I want to show it to you as part of your membership. I want everyone not just to, get a fish sandwich from me, but to learn how to fish, right? I want to show you how to do it, okay? So I'm really excited about the master classes especially.
Nate, you always go above and beyond for your students, regardless if they've been working with you for years or if they just got started. And I know we had a lot of people in the chat say they just got started. This is a perfect program to get started with. Deb said, Nate, my MetaTrade closed yesterday for $2,600. Roger said up $15,770. Ron D said, I will be signing up for lifetime today, which is a great move there, Ron. And if you guys are in the chat right now, sign up for lifetime. So far, Ron's up $3,777. Betty went 4 for 4. The option is very easy to place, and it's cheap for small accounts. That's a big benefit. It's cheap.
Yep.
I like it because it's very targeted. Set it and forget it works with me since I work full-time in the hospital.
Carlos said the same thing. He's doing surgery and getting automatic winners with those things. It's so great.
That is awesome. Jeff said, thanks to you, I'm up $17,000 in the last 6 months. So the question is, will you be next? Will you take action today? Well, only 500 total people will be allowed to join the weekend options program at the early access special. And again, 100 of those spots are already gone, probably more now. I haven't had a chance to look. And Nate has over 3,000 members to his strategies. So this will go fast. Just a fraction of folks will be able to get access to this. And again, already 100 spots gone. So these 500 spots will fill up quick. So Nate, what will the first trade look like? What will the next one look like, I should say?
Well, we're going to find out here pretty soon. And so we're going to go through the training, get people up to speed, ready to go. I actually love the fact that we have the week to kind of onboard and get ready for our first trade so that people are rolling and ready to go. And then obviously we'll hit it live on Friday. Now, obviously, guys, I can't guarantee any future gains. I mean, 94.4% is great, but you could run into a loser at any point in time. Hopefully everyone knows that and is ready for that and comfortable with that. But you got to remember how consistent these have been. And by the way, we have so much cushion because of the triple premiums that we don't get any other time, right? That's really what's able to juice up that win rate. And so that's why I don't trade them. Even though I tried in the past, I don't trade them like any other options. The market is literally forced to price in this advantage because of the extra days in the weekend, giving us the chance to scoop up extra money every weekend there is. Now, it doesn't trigger every weekend, triggers, 3.5 times a month on average. But when I realized the weekend was actually different, it was legitimately a different animal. That's where it changed. I had to shift my thinking, literally start my data from scratch, erase every single weekend test that I'd done, start over from a blank slate. And thankfully, that led to the discovery that now you guys know about and that I don't think anyone else is using. Since those Friday options have tripled the premiums, we can take a slight adjustment to my usual option, the way I normally would set up a trade, and get set up with a triple cushion on the trade. So instead of needing a 1% directional move, we literally, Monday, Tuesday, any other option for the same risk reward, you would need that directional move. We now get a much bigger cushion over the weekend. And as long as it moves in my favor or even sideways or even falls just a little bit, that cushion is there to bail us out with a winner like October 11th. This is a great example. You get into the trade on Friday. Literally, as soon as that market gaps up, even just a little bit, it's going to hit the target because that cushion is so big. About $1,000 on that one. July 26th, another great example. We saw this one earlier, but it's a great example. Friday, don't need a huge gap here. And by the way, the market actually ends up selling off. Okay, so the market ends up falling, but we don't care. That little move, because all that cushion in there gets you set up to your profit. Now, I could give you about 6 more examples, like Friday, April 26th, place the trade here. On this one, you get the triple cushion, another weekend win. We had one, by the way, that was even a bigger gap down that still won just recently because it's so, let's see, how do I say this? It's so good at sneaking out wins even when the market's ugly. It's so good, any little move, it just, boom, it's enough to get you out in most cases. Now, again, that doesn't mean you win every time, but like Friday. You guys know Friday ended up, Graham, do you know what the S&P ended on Friday? Ended up like 0.26% or something on the day? And that was enough to get us a full winner in just one day. So just crazy. And if you haven't signed up, I hope you do that right now. Obviously, I think we're around 200 people have already signed up. So it's only been 10 minutes.
I was just going to say, Nate, we've got almost 200 spots already gone off the table. So it's been not even 10, actually just has been 10 minutes since membership's open. Almost half are gone. So folks, if you haven't signed up yet, you really need to do that right now. Don't waste another minute. Right.
Well, I'm so pumped that everyone is excited as I am about this because, sometimes you get so amped up. You're looking at the data. You can't wait to do it. And you don't know if everyone else is going to be as excited as you are. But it's always good when it clicks and people are. So the gravy train is about to leave the station, and you better get on board. I'm not joking about that. We have a very small window because the deal is going to be shortened. Again, bonus number one, we dropped it all the way down to $13.44. Then we made it even better with the increased discount of the $500 off, which I think is awesome. Makes it $8.44. Really puts it within reach of anyone and everyone. And so after the first 500 folks join, obviously that's when we remove it. We take it down, and then whether it goes up 500 or 5,000, I don't know what we're gonna do. But it doesn't matter if you get in on the early access. And so I really, really hope that you do. Now, guys, keep in mind, for me, it's not about locking people out. Okay. My goal here isn't to shut it down and lock you out. My goal is to get a group of early access members, train you up, go through the classes, get some winning trades, and then just put a more reasonable price on it. So I'll do that as quickly as possible. I'm not trying to like box people out and do like a secret club that no one's allowed in. I just want to get a group, get the training done, get a more reasonable price, and then of course open it back up because I always want more people to be trading with me. So I don't want you to take that the wrong way.
You're really just giving folks a break for taking action early. It's like a win-win. You guys will get to pay, or you only have to pay a fraction of what it's going to cost, and you're going to get the trades too right now to get the hopefully get the profits rolling. So it's like a win-win for taking action now. So it's our goal that you become Nate's success story, like the hundreds of people who we've already heard from so far from his work, especially the recent stories. And again, the reason Nate's doing this, the reason he's limiting these spots is because he does want to hear from you guys. He wants to get your stories, and we want to blow this thing up. We want everyone in the world to hear about these weekend options. And ultimately, we want as many people in the world to be a member of this. However, the special price is only good for the first 500. After that, he's taking a note out of Roger's book. Price is going up, up, and up. So you don't want to be the person that's paying $2,000 for this.
I think Roger actually yelled at me when I told him that I was doing it under $1,000.
Oh, that sounds like Roger to me. Well, here's what Kathy, one of Nate's students, said. Thank you for teaching me how to do these. I've not only gone 5 for 5, but I've also done winning trades on AVGO and NVIDIA by myself. She's taking what Nate's teaching her and applying it to her other strategies. Ken is up $5,000 for the month. That would buy you about 6 of these memberships, by the way. Yeah. Now, I don't trade as many contracts, so I missed that part, but that's all right. Beverly did even.
Sorry, let me go.
There you go. Getting closer to his goal. So he's scaling up. Ken is scaling up over time, and he's at $5,000 for the month. Beverly did $6,000. Even better. Look at that. And then there's Deborah who said, Nate, I want to thank you for the trades you give us on the live sessions. Deborah's made $12,000 on the live trades alone. Maybe some of that profits came from this last Friday trade where everyone there, well, I shouldn't say everyone, but the folks who followed along should have hit a nice little winner on Friday. What about Carlos with 9 trades with minimal risk? My account has grown almost $5,000. Nate has been a great coach and a humble human being. Or what about Jason? He says, just consistently swing the bat and make money. Nice, Jason. But now is the time to jump in. Like I said, almost half the spots are gone by now, and it's only been open for 10 minutes. If you think this is going to be around for the next week or so, you're wrong. This is going to last maybe tomorrow morning, maybe tomorrow at lunch. Now, Nate, I know we've had a lot of questions here in the chat, and I know you're going to answer all of them, but let me ask you something to get started. And before I do, we've got a lot of questions here about nobody's seeing the lifetime offer. If you guys did sign up for the 1-year membership, it will be on the next page to upgrade for lifetime. It's only an extra $7.95. So it's less than the price of 1 year to upgrade to lifetime. And Nate usually is charging around $2,000, $2,500 for lifetime. For the early access special, it's only $7.95. If you accidentally made a mistake and you accidentally closed that page, please, please, please call our team today. Don't wait until tomorrow because they can honor it while this deal is still open. The second it shuts down, we may be too late. So, guys, if you missed the lifetime deal, give us a number, or give us a call at our number, 904-706-3537. So once you sign up for your membership, on that link that Dakota sent in the chat, put in your information, all of you, just hit enter, claim my membership. It will then redirect you to the next page where you can upgrade to lifetime.
Dude, now, Nate, I've got remembered we did the 844, but I forgot that we did the lifetime at 795. I literally completely forgot.
It's amazing.
All right.
Nate, how much money is needed to trade this? Do I need a huge account?
Yeah, so this is important because everyone saw a lot of examples, 5K stake or 1K stake, but you don't need that. You start with $200 for a contract. So, you can definitely start and sell over time.
Is this day trading? Do I need to worry about a pattern day trading rule?
No. So we enter Friday before the close, and we're aiming to exit Monday. So you're not going to end up violating day trades. Now, we occasionally have trades like Friday that work out so fast that we close the same day. But those might happen once a month, right? So you're not going to have that happen. It can't happen 4 times in 1 week, right? Because we're only doing 1 trade a week. So you're never really going to run into a day trading issue. And if you're worried about that at all, lots of different things you can do. I'll kind of walk you through that in the class. If you want to make sure you don't get any day trades, no problem. Very easy to solve.
Awesome. Well, Nate, will every trade be a winner?
All right. Obviously not. When we talk about 94% win rates, we've got to remind everyone, not every trade will be a winner. Nothing's going to win 100% of the time. But, the weekend options probably have as good of a win rate as anything I'll ever do. I don't think I'll ever trade a strategy with that high of a win rate. So obviously I feel pretty good, and they've shown, to be pretty profitable over time. If you go through every single example like we showed you before, this is literally just starting with a 1,000. This is not the 5,000 example. just 1,000 bucks, 70K in profit. Now that's being aggressive. That's risking 33% on each trade, but you can just see how quickly it can compound.
That is really amazing. And again, that doesn't even include the Friday winner you just hit. Now, should I be concerned about a bear market this year? What if we do get a bigger correction?
Yeah, now that people know, I'm cautiously optimistic, but obviously, as I shared recently, I think there is a gap that we could get a much deeper correction. But that doesn't really matter. Like it really means very little to the overall strategy because we're focused on the weekend volatility. We really aren't, trading because we think the market's going up or because we think the market's going down. The data really doesn't, even take that into account. So, by the way, it's 10 for 10 in 2025. So if you're worried about the markets going down, meaning the strategy can't work, well, 2025 is a good example of obviously, yes, it can.
You haven't had a loser or no losers in 2025, right? Or am I mistaken? Was there one?
Yep.
Was there zero?
Zero losers in 2025 on the weekend options.
That is crazy. Question number 5. Can I trade this on a regular brokerage account? Can I maybe trade an IRA or 401k?
Yeah, you can trade this in any account. It's risk defined. You have to get the right options permission. So you just got to call your broker, make sure you're set up to trade. Let them know, what we're doing, and then you're good to go. It's retirement account friendly. It's whether it's Tasty, Robinhood, whatever. I have people in every single kind of brokerage account in my classes. Interactive brokers in Canada, everything, and anyone could do that.
That's awesome. Well, what's the next weekend options trade? I know the one last Friday was a winner, instant winner for some people. What's the next one coming up?
Yeah, well, like we said, we were gonna kind of do a pop up on Monday and show you the trade. We can't do that because the current one already closed, but the next one will be coming right along on its usual schedule on Friday, and every single early access member can be involved, be part of that, and I cannot wait.
I love it. How do we close the trade?
All right, so with the automated exit, you don't need to do anything to exit the trade. Now, sometimes I say this, and people think I'm like saying a cliche, like I'm not being practical. I'm being 100% practical when I say you filled the trade, you set the target, you walk away, you literally need to do nothing. I will teach you how to do it step by step, and that is it. Okay?
That is awesome. And Bob posted here in the chat. He had the winner on Friday. He said, I do it in a Roth IRA. He did that last Friday. He also does it with your overnight options. So there you go.
Nice.
Love it, Bob. Is there any sort of guarantee here?
All right, so we're going to do a 14-day guarantee. Now, keep in mind, I was originally planning on doing nothing whatsoever. I was just planning on saying, listen, if you're in the early access, you claim the crazy deal, you're going to get all the training up front. So that is what it is. But I understand, maybe this is a new style of trading for people. They're not sure, but they want to give it a try. They see the opportunity. So I'll give you the 2 weeks. All right. I don't want you to join if you're just planning on getting a refund. If you have a losing trade, you want to get a refund. That's not the point. If you believe in it, but you're just, you want to make sure, no problem. I'll give you 2 weeks. You can go through all the training with me, take a couple trades. And, if you're not excited about it, no worries. You can get a refund. I won't hold it against you.
Awesome. Well, do I have to be glued to the computer to take these entries and exits? Is it going to come any day at any time?
It's incredibly easy to manage because it come Friday at the same time, and then you don't need to do anything to exit. So, it's extremely straightforward. You could set about 5 minutes out of your week, and you can do every single weekend trade.
I love it. Now, is it going to cost $2,500 per year to join, like we've charged in the past, or other premium services? Let me just say this, Nate. By the amount of spots that are already gone, I think maybe you should have gone $24.95 for the year.
Well, it's not going to be that. Not right now. We went really, I try to get people in. I do this every time. I get pumped up. I want everyone to be in with me, especially in the first trade. I want a ton of feedback. So I say, let's just do it, pedal to the metal. But 500 is my number. We agreed on that. We're certainly holding to that. So, yes, it's too cheap, but 500 and then it ends.
I love that you did the extra $500 bonus for the first 500. Little fun little trick there. Question number 11. Did you say you have an extra bonus that you didn't even have time to share today?
Okay, yeah. So I was working on something a little bit Thursday, Friday, Saturday that I think is really cool. Just a little extra bonus that I think will make it easier for people to trade, especially for beginners. And so I'm going to walk you through that bonus during our live training class, how it works, and get it added to your members area. It's not even in your members area yet. I haven't finished it. It's not even in your members area yet, but in the next couple of days it will be. And I think it's really, really cool. I was texting Graham furiously saying, look how cool this thing is that I'm adding in over the weekend. So he knows about it, but you guys will see it. I don't want to talk about it yet because it's not even in the members area yet, but I'll show it to you. And I think it's a lot of fun and really just makes it, frankly, easier to trade for everyone, especially beginners.
That is awesome. Well, guys, go ahead and click that link that Dakota posted in the chat. Go to prosperitypub.com/500 because there's 500 spots, or give us a call at the number you see here on the screen. Again, it's not $2,495 per year. It's not even $1,344. which would have been a fun price because that's the average weekend winner. No, today is Nate's knocking an extra 500 off the price, only 844 for early access. That's not for everyone. That's only for the first 500. And remember, we're quickly closing in on these spots. It's only been open. Memberships have been open for 22 minutes now, and almost half the spots are gone. So guys, these are
That's insane.
flying off the shelves.
I feel like I'm like a Taylor Swift concert. 22 minutes, we're halfway there.
That's right. Feeling
Um,
22.
okay. Let me ask you this question. Do you have any idea what the common questions are? Because I have 270 some chats in here that I have no idea what the common questions are. So I'm going to have to do a little time to.
Let me
to.
find Dakota posted a nice little list for
Oh,
us.
thank you, Dakota. Okay.
If you scroll up to here, I'll just see if I can post it again to you.
All right. Because I.
I always have a hard time copy and pasting in Zoom. There we go. There it is. Dakota posted again. Thank you, Dakota.
All right. So, great question about the risk and the drawdown, how that all works. Really simple, guys. Whatever you pay for the trade is what you risk. So, if you just want to risk $200, easy. Just buy one contract. You can risk about $200 on the trade. If you want to do, two contracts, it'll probably be around 400. Average trade around $200, 160, 170. So, really, you just risk whatever you're going to pay. It's a risk-defined trade. You can't lose more than that. It's very straightforward from the risk perspective. And then in terms of drawdown, just a matter of, if you lose a trade, you're going to take a hit on that particular trade. So like, with a high win rate, we don't expect to have like, losing streaks because you have 95% win rate. But of course you could. You never know what can happen in the markets. And you just have to be careful with what you're risking at any given time, just like any other strategy. Someone asked, will you always lose the entire amount if you are not winning the trade? Not always, but yeah, I mean, I'm the type who when I go for these really high win rate strategies, I'm using time to my advantage. So I risk $200. I'm, targeting $40 or whatever. And then I just let the trade sit there. And if I lose, I lose. And if I win, I win. And over time, that tends to be extremely, extremely profitable. In fact, the profit factor on this strategy is crazy. It's like over 7 on an income strategy, which is like, that's not even supposed to happen. But it's because you're giving the trade all that time to give yourself a profit opportunity, which is also why the win rate is so high. Do we always trade the indexes? Yeah, we always trade the indexes on this. We get tons of volume, we get tight spreads, and the pricing is way, way more reliable, which is what we're hacking into here. What we're hacking into here is the pricing of the instrument themselves, and they're way, way, way more reliable on those assets. So, if you want to trade like a random ticker like Tesla or Baidu or like one of these tickers that are fun to trade and have good volatility, you wouldn't be able to rely on the edge weekend over weekend over weekend. So you have to trade the indexes. They're better to trade anyway because they feel easy, have good volume, and they can even help you get into trades after the market closes, which is fun too. Yeah, there is that headline that I mentioned on Telegram earlier about foreign investors pulling more money out of U.S. stocks than we've seen. And will that affect more downside pressure? Well, I think there's going to be a lot of downside pressure for lots of various reasons, but I actually think there's a chance to be more upward pressure than downward pressure in the coming months. If you guys were on my 3:30 session, I kind of walked you through some of the bullet points. Graham actually did a whole presentation on the roundtable of some bullish things that were lining up. So I'm cautiously optimistic. There's going to be more headlines and more things that sow fear and say, there's selling pressure. But I think right now there might be more optimism and buying pressure that outweighs it. And we'll just have to wait and see. But the thing is, this strategy has been 10 for 10 through 2025 while the markets have fallen apart. So I'm not especially concerned about that. The training is going to be Wednesday morning. For those who asked, the live class is going to be Wednesday morning. I'm literally going to do this for the next couple of days, close it down, do the class Wednesday, and then get on a plane and head to California. So that's one of the reasons I scrunched this down while Graham's been pestering me to go live. And I've been telling him, I don't have any time to go live. I'm going to be traveling. I got all this stuff going on. That's why we eventually squeezed it into this weekend to make it happen.
Nate, real quick here. 3 things I've been seeing, quite a few repeating questions. Number 1 is if you want to get Diamond membership, that's where you get all of Nate's programs for lifetime and all of his future programs as well. Guys, give us a call, 904-706-3537. They can talk to you about all the details of Diamond membership and what that means. Again, Nate is still pretty early on in his public career here with us. So getting into Diamond membership right now is going to be much cheaper than it will be waiting a year from now. So if that's something that you're interested in, give us a call. Another thing I saw here was what is the profit factor? Guys, Nate just stated, and I just want to make sure everyone caught this. The profit factor is currently just over 7. That's an absurd profit factor. So that means for every $1 that you might lose on a trade, we'd make back 7 over time or per trade, and that's over a long series of time. So it's not like a one hit wonder trade data. This is almost 100 trades. So for every $1 lost in a trade, making back 7. That's a pretty incredible profit factor. My goal is usually to shoot around 2.5 profit factor, maybe 3. Above 3 is outstanding. This is currently at 7. And then the last question here that I saw, Robert's asking, can you give us more details on the double dip trading, that bonus that comes for the lifetime members only? Again, if you guys did not upgrade to lifetime on that second page, you're definitely missing out. It is an insanely rock bottom price right now to upgrade it for lifetime. It's only like extra $7.95, I believe, and you get that double dip bonus. Nate, do you mind giving us a little teaser what folks can expect in that double dip bonus?
Yeah, so it is a little more advanced. You want to be able to get comfortable and probably take a couple of the regular trades first, I'd imagine, unless you're already really comfortable with options, which many of my members are. But what it does is it gives you a different directional bias over the weekend, and it actually scoops up even more volatility with that trade. So it functions a little bit differently, different entry criteria, a couple different filters, different targets. But ultimately, it's just kind of a way to double dip on the weekends. So what happened is I was testing this strategy, and it was incredible. And then I just found another way to say, okay, what if I rework it and just go for all volatility and don't even worry about direction at all? And that's kind of what this advanced strategy is. I take you through it step by step in the report. I actually also recorded a video of how to take the trade live in the report as well. So you actually have a video of me doing it on my brokerage account. So that's all in there for you for the VIP members. And yeah, of course, Diamond members get access. So if you're a Diamond member, I call it HQ. So I call it the Nate Tucci HQ. If you're a member of that, you just get everything. You get lifetime access of everything, including all the bonuses, including some special classes, and including a live in-person event that we're working on, hopefully for the fall of 2025 that we haven't put the finishing touches on. But that's, I mean, if the answer is, do I get blank, and you're an HQ member, it will always be yes, everything, no matter what, under every circumstance. No, I'm not going to do alerts in the double dip. Great question, Sam. I'm not going to do alerts, but I might do some bonus classes with my VIP members. Just every once in a while, and put the trade on live. So it won't be like official alerts or anything, but you can do it on your own. The cool thing is once you learn the main strategy, you can pretty easily bolt that strategy on. The training is Wednesday. I think 11 a.m. is when we put it in my calendar. I'll confirm real quick here for you. I think I put it in at 11 a.m. Let's see if I pull it up here. I gotta check. I gotta check where I put it in my schedule. But yes, it's all recorded. You also get unlimited access to the recordings and all future master classes and recordings that we do and all that kind of stuff. So, of course, it'll all be recorded and locked in your membership. And what I always do is I also put my presentation in the members area. So I put like a PDF of my slides that I go over so that you can also kind of flip through them at your own pace versus just watching the recording, which I find is really helpful for people. So you can literally flip through, pause, and really get comfortable with it. And like I said, it's kind of cool because we'll have a couple days here to get everyone onboarded. I'm sure we'll close the spots here before Wednesday morning. And then you guys will be able to go through the training, ask me all the questions you have, do all that good stuff, and you'll be locked and loaded, ready to go for Friday. Eli, yes, there are trade alerts, but he was asking for the double dip specifically for the bonus strategy. Yep. No trade alerts for the bonus strategy, but of course, very detailed specific alerts for every single weekend option trade in great detail with everything you need to take them. Absolutely, yes, yes, yes.
And Nate, you're going to give them the exact options criteria for entering, and you're going to talk them through the exit and everything they need to know, guys. It's going to be a handheld experience here. Now, of course, I would bet that once Nate, he's such a good teacher, once he teaches you the strategy, you do a couple trades on your own, you might say, Nate, I don't even need you anymore. Just send me the options. I got the rest handled. But just in case, he is going to walk you through every entry and exit as well.
Yeah, and the alerts will be posted in our one-click trading where all of my alerts are posted. But then I'll also shoot out a text and a telegram just letting you know when they're updated, so you can pop in there at any time. By the way, there's now a mobile app for one-click trading. If you guys haven't checked out the mobile app, it works beautifully on the phone. So you get a telegram on your phone, you pop over. I think it's actually better on the phone than even the website right now. Make sure you check that out too, because that makes it really easy just to check it on your phone, trade from your phone if you want, all that kind of stuff. All right. So a lot. Ed said we have not answered his question. Ed, I'm sorry. I'm sure there's a lot of people we have not answered the questions for because we have, I think, maybe 1,000 chats in here.
Hmm.
When you're on this side of when you're on this side of the screen, it's hard to keep track. Um, so Ralph, the crazy thing about the 844 deal is that you actually get it locked in too. So even though it might be nice for us to do 844 and then have you renew at like 1997 or 2497 to try to make it quote unquote fair. The way that we treat our early access members is that you always lock in the deal. So you never have to worry about a different renewal price, no matter how big the discount or what's going on. You'll never have to say, hey, I got in at one price, but my renewal is different. If you're an early access member or beta member of any kind, you always, always lock in the price that you join at. And by the way, if you do the lifetime, you lock in the price for less than 1 year by doing that for $7.95 or whatever crazy deal that is. Hey, Ralph, thanks for joining. Bob, Adam, Joanne, Sam. Sorry, I know there's 180 people who said, yes, I joined. I'm sorry I didn't get to shout out every single one of you, but thank you so much. I'm looking so forward to our class, seeing everyone in there, all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. And Nate, I just heard back from the team, guys. Those spots are going very, very quick. We do have that class on Wednesday. I doubt if you wait till Wednesday morning to join that there will be any spots left. So, guys, go ahead and click that link in the chat to get signed up right now. So, I'm going back and forth with the team, just making sure that we're good on the current pace. Again, guys, we're about halfway through the first 500 spots here. And after that, it's not going to be a price hike right now. You're not going to get in for 944 or 1044. It's going to be shut down. The deal's going to be off the internet. Nate's going to get these first 500 members rolling, hopefully get some profits going for them, some stories for them, and then in maybe a month or 2 or 3 months, open it back up for a much more expensive cost. So if you guys want to get started today, right now, while the spots are open, go ahead and click that link in the chat or give us a call, 904-706-3537.
Sam was asking about the risk again. So again, the risk will be whatever you pay. So if I give you an option that costs $160 and you trade one contract, what you're risking is the 160. That's what you paid. Okay. So if you're risking 10 contracts, then you're risking $1,600, right? So it's just literally whatever number you decide to pay. Now, I would typically tell people you might want to risk 3 to 5% of an active trading account, but it's totally up to you. But the cool thing about these trades is they're so cheap, you can easily manage your risk. You can scale up, you can scale down. You can start with one contract, test it out. You can start with paper trading and test it out. I mean, you really have a lot of options. Now, keep in mind, guys, as you log in right now, if you log in for the very first time, the members area is essentially there's nothing in there yet. Yeah, there's a trade tracker you can check out, and then our classes that are coming, because this is truly an early access that we literally just set up. So there's not a whole bunch of material, a whole bunch of old master classes. None of that's in there. Literally, we are about to get started. So you can log into the members area, you can check out the tracker and everything in there. But there's not going to be a whole lot in there until we get everything loaded up. Sam asked if there will be any wives on the Pebble. You're muted, Graham. But
Oh, I was
yeah,
muted. I was talking to myself there.
Sam asked if there are any wives on the Pebble trip. Pebble trip. No, Sam, there are no wives on the Pebble trip. It's funny. This was actually a trip that I originally told Allie, my wife, that we should do together. We should do the couples because it would be a lot of fun. They could do the spa and blah 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 blah, and we could play golf and all of that. And then that was 2.5 years ago or something when we started booking it. Well, we've had 2 kids since then, so we're up to 7 kids, and a little harder to do couples trips when you have 7 kids. It is the normal, usual guys crew.
That's great. Drew said he hit a winner on Friday with you as well.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Drew.
We've got to check. I have 3 services now. Diamond access seems to make the most sense. It does. If you guys have 3 services, definitely calling about Diamond. It's not only going to get you access to everything, but it's going to save you a lot of money too.
Yeah, the material is in one click. You log in. There's not a whole lot there yet, folks. Just a couple things. We literally just opened the early access. So literally just a couple like the tracker and sub stuff in there, and then we're gonna get going on the onboarding here in the next couple of days. So looking forward to that. Just so you guys know, before anyone judges me too harshly, my wife does do a girls trip every year too. Okay, just gotta get that out there. Full disclosure, I handle and she does a girls trip every year as well. So I just want to make sure no one's judging me too harshly in the chat right now. But appreciate you. Oh, thanks, Robert. Love to see it. Robert's in for VIP.
Awesome. Yes, there is the you guys should be able to get your login information here. Once you sign up, it'll just take a few minutes. Now, we did have a couple hundred people here today, so it may take a little longer than normal, but it will come today. If not, give us a call, guys. If you've not seen your login information, give us a call. It's a secure online portal. That login information is for you. It's your private access to the portal, and then inside there, you can get access to the weekend options, materials. And again, like Nate said, this is brand new. So it's going to be, we're going to be adding to it each and every week. Nate is going to be, and the trainings will be coming up starting on Wednesday this week. So you really don't want to miss out. Now, I know we only got a few more minutes here till Nate and I have to run and get back with the family to enjoy our wonderful weekend day, but we will answer a few more questions here, and then it'll be up to you if you want to take one of the final spots left before we close these memberships down.
Yeah, I actually have a birthday party for my 1 year old starting in 26 minutes. So yeah, I'm on a I'm on a time crunch in more ways than one. But looking forward to getting as many people. I cannot believe how many spots we've already filled. This is wow. This is crazy. Well, thanks, guys. I'm so thrilled to have you. So excited. Cannot wait to get this rolling. We're going to be starting soon. I mean, Wednesday's the official class, Friday the trade. So you have a nice couple of days to get onboarded. And the 844 discount. Obviously, as soon as we fill the spots, we'll shut it down. And I can't wait to get all the feedback. Remember, guys, I do want you to make sure that you're taking the trades, tracking them, giving me your feedback. Okay, so make sure that you're doing that and you're planning on doing that as we go forward here, where you are taking the trades, whether you paper trade them or one contract or 1,000 contracts, doesn't matter. But you take them, you kind of journal what you're doing. Make sure you track any gains that you have, or if you have a loss, obviously track that as well. And then give me your feedback. I'll ask for it a couple times in the coming weeks and months. And I just want to make sure I get that all gathered up because that's going to be important for us to then open this back up at some point.
Sam posted here in the chat, I was a winner on Friday. I paid for half the enrollment already. Well, there you go. You're already halfway there, Sam.
Halfway there. John said he's not judging me about leaving my wife. He's only judging me on my trades. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Sam, so a paper trade account is just like a demo money account. So if you were just to go to like Thinkorswim, well, I think probably you have to go to Schwab and just say like, Google Schwab paper, then they'll let you download an account that has paper money in it, which is just, fake money that you can still exercise all the same trades, put your targets in, watch the markets, do all of that. And, and get comfortable with it without risking any real money, which is a nice thing, especially for people who are newer.
Phil says, gotta go. Excited for the service. If it's anything like your overnight options, I'll be extremely happy. Phil, definitely. People love overnight options. And this is kind of an extension. So if you guys enjoy the overnight options, you're gonna love the weekend options because that's the one day that Nate hadn't been tapping into until now. Slight adjustment to his usual option selection now opens up this weekend experience.
Yeah, well, thanks, Phil. Phil's in every one of my sessions. He's great, always tracking what we're doing, and so I'm excited to have you, Phil. Merceline, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know the exact details. I think the filters and the trade structure and everything about it is probably different other than the time frame is my assumption, but I'm not 100% sure because I don't know everything about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for being here. John says he loves it. I love it. Thank you guys all for being here today and giving us just an hour and a half of your time here on this wonderful Sunday. Again, excited for all the new members, hundreds of folks joining right now. Only 500 spots available. Those will fill up very, very soon here. So again, take one of those discounted memberships. It's only $844 for the year for that early access deal. It's a steal of a deal, no brainer in my opinion. So go ahead and take Take advantage of these weekend options while you can. Again, classes coming up this week, and then that first trade coming up as well. So you don't want to miss it. And I shouldn't say first trade. The first trade Nate gave us a freebie on
True.
Friday. Hopefully, he made some money. Now it's for the members only going forward.
Graham, if I can grab the screen share real quick, I just want to throw this up real quick, and then we will close things out and let people get back on to
Perfect.
their Sunday. So, someone asked about the trade tracker. This is what it looks like. I kind of hid the actual options there because obviously I can't show the exact options that we took. You can see we're mainly trading the index. There's the insane profit factor. And then this is kind of a look at the winners and losers along the way. Here's an example of a loser that was only negative 9%. So if people asking, do you lose 100% of the time? Every time? No. Sometimes you kind of get in the net middle there and you don't take a full loss. So that can happen too. Here's one that was only down 14%. So, those happen along the way, but you should be prepared to lose 100%. Obviously, anything you risk, you should be prepared to lose. That would be wise in all trading. But this is what our tracker looks like. Even with a relatively small, per stake 5K. I mean, we're not compounding and putting in $80,000 once the compound. We're just sticking 5K. You still end up with $71,000 in net profit. So I would say pretty darn good. I hope you guys think pretty darn good as well. And I'm excited to get going. That's 5K per trade. So not compounding, Sam. It's not like we took 5K at the beginning and turned it into a $100,000 account. And now we're risking 30 grand. It's just 5K every single trade. Average winner is going to be, around $1,000 there with that. So that's what you could expect if you do, a $500, you average around $100 a winner. So maybe you start making $100 a weekend and go from there. Everyone's going to start at their own pace and go differently. So looking forward to having so many of you guys on. Can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'll be live with you Wednesday for the first time with all of us members together, which I love those classes. We always have a ton of fun, and you guys are great. I get great feedback. I stay there as long as I need to answer all the questions. And that's what we'll be doing. So bye everyone.
Bye. Thank you guys all. Thank you all. Hope you have a great weekend. Make sure to take advantage of this while it's still available. See you guys later.